Hello, Starfinders. It's Wednesday at 2 p.m., and you all know what that means.
It's time for
Starfinder
X.T.R.E.M.
Extreme! Exactly. We are back to bring you some more weird wrestling, possibly the worst action in the Pact worlds.
Before you continue, I want to point out that people started to roll before the show, and I just like to point out that John already got a 1 just to get it out already, just to make sure all our failures are seen. It's conveniently peeking out of the overlay. So I'm glad he's getting the critical failures out now.
See, that's smart, though, because it is statistically unlikely that he'll roll 2 1s in a row. So the next one's bound to be a good roll.
You just watch.
No.
Statistics works.
Is that how numbers work?
We have to test it now. Mr. Compton, could you please roll me another natural 20? Or just another natural 20? Another 20?
Why must you taunt me so?
It is a 1! Why is it a 1?
Oh, man. But you know what's even less likely than 2 1s in a row? 3 1s in a row. So keep
I thought you were going to say our survival.
Well, that too.
Oh my gosh.
Why is it a 1? Why do you do this to me?
Starting out here with a bang.
It's more amazing that he rolled the exact same dice.
Yeah, the exact same dice. I actually don't have a dice fixer machine back here going beep boop beep boop to screw over all of you. Hello.
I don't think you need to. That's D20's default setting.
Sorry to hijack our beginning, but hi Amanda, how's it going?
Hey, I am doing great, Peyton, and how are you all doing rolling your natural ones? Oh man, so this bodes very well for some very positive, very successful wrestling action, just like all of our other previous episodes in which nothing bad ever happened, nobody took any damage, and everyone defeated all the bad guys, right?
Yeah, all with critical, all with 20s and higher than 10 rolls.
Nobody fell in fire. Nobody crashed a helicopter. It was all good.
It was perfect.
The entire building didn't explode behind you as you barely escaped with your lives from a mission that should not have been that difficult.
It did, but on camera, it was really cool looking.
That's right. It was a montage. It was intended to be like that. The fire was just an effect, and you didn't almost die.
They fixed it post to remove most of the felony evidence.
They CGI'd out our fear.
The experience points were the friends we made along the way.
Experience points, as if I was keeping track of experience points. No, I was, because this is a good time to say all of our wrestlers are level 2 after all of the near-death experiences and death-defying wrestling antics. Everybody has leveled up for this arc of Extreme. So I expect lots of really cool things and even more crazy antics, right? You guys aren't just going to die from the harder enemies?
No.
We have gained a great deal of experience, but we have learned nothing.
Well, you know, if you don't go through life experiences learning absolutely nothing, then what's the point, right, Andrew?
That's what I always say. That's what got me here today.
All right. So yes, we should introduce ourselves for those of you who are watching in chat. Hello, everybody. We are very excited to be bringing you this wrestling action again today. I am Amanda Hamon. I am the managing developer for the Starfinder RPG at Paizo Inc. And joining me today are a cast of wonderful Paizo employees who are all playing amateur wrestlers who have very interesting stories and aren't just about to explode and blow up everywhere. Let's start today with introductions with John. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about your character.
Hello, I'm John Compton. I'm the Starfinder senior developer, and today, as before, I'm playing Tehwas la Malscripcion, who is an Embry biohacker. By day, she works as basically a Steve Irwin-like character on Castrovel, and by night, she takes out all of her frustrations with all the animals by beating up all of the wild companions that she has in the ring.
And everybody loves her, right? In the ring, she's everybody's best friend, and she's the most upstanding extremer of them all.
She is totally the heel of the ring, and there is no underhanded tactic she will not attempt, vehicular or otherwise.
Oh, excellent. I have very good news after our introductions for Tehwas. In the meantime, Andrew, please tell us a bit about yourself and your character.
Hi, I am Andrew White. I am the front-end dev lead on Paizo.com, and I am playing Daeve Palanshuk, who disappointed his family of wrestlers by going to law school and becoming a personal injury lawyer, but then found that wrestling anyway was also a really good way to both find new clients and to try to get a little bit of the approval from his family that he so desperately craves but will never attain.
And
Uh,
speaking
and he's a witch warper, which means he also has access to the infinity of the multiverse at his fingertips.
Speaking of your family, you have a very tight-knit family who supports you in your wrestling endeavors. So the fact that they are both your managers and your merchandise vendors, and in general, just sort of friends of the group. Can you tell us a bit about them?
For the
Yes, my
support.
my ma and grandma are pretty much following us around constantly, hoping to capture me being injured on video so they can then sell it. But it makes me famous, so I'm all for it.
That's right, but, in lieu of you actually getting hurt and making lots and lots of money off of very sadistic, viewers, your granny likes to go around and come up with merchandising ideas, and she's got a big bag that's full of all sorts of things to give out and sell as promotional items.
That's true. So far, I think after the last few sessions, we've supplemented what we already had with the rhinestone sunglasses and the T-shirts with my face on them with an actual unexploded grenades that were tossed during the last fight against the Skulk. We don't know why they didn't go off. The pin's been pulled, but you can have them now for a low, low price and take them home.
And don't forget about the little number in fine print underneath the logo, which is the number to your law office in case you get injured on the job or at a wrestling event.
Definitely.
Thanks, Andrew. So, we also have a very special new player today on the stream for this arc and into the future. Ayanara, please introduce yourself and your character.
Hello, hello. I am an editor here at Paizo, and I'm going to be playing a Yoski operative called Moxie Mick, also known as Moxie in the ring. When they're not in the ring, they like to just jump off places, finding the highest buildings to climb, and doing videos to post on the infosphere. So fun stuff, and that's how I kind of make my day money. It doesn't pay well.
It doesn't pay well, but you have fun and you have a really cool nickname out of it. And now you have the opportunity to get into some events and get some publicity. And I am looking forward to seeing Moxie's antics. And last but certainly not least, we have Peyton. Tell us who you are.
Hey everybody, I'm Peyton Smith. I'm the social media producer here at Paizo, and I'm currently playing Bird Wells. I am basically a vanguard. I am an uplifted bear at the same time, and I've basically almost, wrestled the entire opposition with just drilling them to death with my entropic strikes, which is a fancy attack for vanguard. In the daytime, he is basically a mercenary, but he found absolutely no work, so he got drugged into the wrestling ring. So with that, I am super excited for us to finally get back to this. We had to take a short break to basically get things sorted, and I hope you guys join us for PaizoCon, PaizoCon Online, which is next week. We'll also be here on Wednesday, basically. Can't remember the start time off the top of my head, but basically it'll be a little bit later in the day. Hope you guys join us in for Starfinder X.T.R.E.M for PaizoCon. And what we like to do here on the stream, by the way, you might also notice some random bits and bobs on top of our characters and all of our little character stat blocks. You can see what type of classes and what levels that we are. On top of those, though, we also have a thing. Basically, they're basically hero points. You in chat are able to give us those points. There's no other way that we can redeem them or even gain them without you helping us out. So if you use your channel points on the Twitch chat, which basically you'll have a little button at the bottom of the Twitch chat, which will have all your channel point systems in. And the more that you gather, the more that you can spend to help us out, which we use these to re-roll. And as you can already see that we just rolled 2 natural ones before the game even started on stream, we probably need your help. So we would appreciate if you spend those points on us. Be sure to specify who you're giving that to. But if you really don't like us, you really want all the players to suffer, you can give a villain point to Amanda. She's already got one. She's been nice to not use it yet. But knowing her, she probably wants me to go into a fiery ditch with my character. So at that point, you can keep giving her all these points. She can do anything she wants with them. She can basically, explode the ship, make us reroll our own rolls, summon 5 ninjas to attack us all. She can do whatever she wants. So with that, Amanda, what do you got for us today?
All right. So one other thing that might be of interest to the folks watching. So we are all streaming at home, as has been the case for the last several weeks, as we're working from home in this environment, and some of us have pets, and you may hear some of these pets, you may see some of these pets. I have a cat who is notorious for walking right in front of the camera or sticking her face over the side so that you'll see whiskers. If that happens, and when that happens, in chat, just call that out. And we have got a random wrestling move generator that we use. It's web-based. I can just push a button and it gives me the name of a wrestling move, and that is a way that that can be incorporated. I will have the PCs can incorporate that in any way in the current ongoing scene, and if they do, they get a bonus of some type to whatever it is that they're doing. So that's a fun little way for you to basically play Spot the Cat. Let's see, Peyton, anything else that we're missing before we get started?
No, we are good to go, Amanda.
All right. So for those of you who joined us last time, the Starfinder Extremers went from appearing in a high-pressure main event for the very small Xenotrouble Wrestling Entertainment Matches League that's based in the Pact Worlds, and they suffered an interruption to their main events and eventually found out that an old wrestler named the Skulk, who's a Vesk with a very distinctive skull logo on bandanas and the outfit that he was wearing, had sabotaged the event and was trying to steal all of the viewers of the Extreme stream and basically rise back to prominence through a very dramatic comeback scene. The PCs were able to chase him to the abandoned mining facility that he was holed up in with all of his fans and his Skulk Nation that had gathered around to help him work up this comeback. And not only did the Extremers turn many of those fans to their side and defeat the ones who stood against them in some more violent combat, but they thwarted that very dramatic type of scene that the Skulk was trying to do to defeat Brandy Brutal, who was supposed to be the star of the show. So the PCs barely escaped from that. They literally lit the building on fire, jumped off of the roof onto a hover vehicle, and barely got away with their lives, but made a very compelling stream that was all live streamed to their audience, and this was a very successful event for the Extreme League.
We defeated the Skulk so thoroughly that they did not find a trace of his body.
Not only did they not find a trace of his body, but they didn't find a trace of anything that was in that building. The entire thing went up in flames. You guys got away right in time. And if I remember correctly, that fire was not necessarily exactly planned, was it, John?
That's what we told the insurance inspector.
We sure could have planned for that result given my terrible, terrible piloting abilities, which have improved. They have improved.
Litigator, do insurance contracts typically have an active Tehwas clause in there? Because I'm not familiar.
I don't know. I'm not really that kind of a lawyer. By which I mean a good lawyer.
God, now.
Oh, all right. So you guys went through all of that together. You were successful in a way that not only protected the league, but gained some money for it and lots of notoriety and online fans. And there are many more eyes on the league. So at the end of that, there was a very troubling discovery that the Skulk and his very large online following had identified several other wrestlers who were to be taken down and whose defeat were supposed to help rise the Skulk back up to prominence, with lots of promises being made to fans who helped make this happen. It was a very long list of pretty well-known folks, and it looked like that there, from the online chatter, was a lot of that there was a lot of plotting and planning and conspiracy work going on. This troubled the Extreme production team, but it also troubled the Starfinder Society, who worried that there may be something more sinister and notorious and dangerous behind this instead of just one old washed-up wrestler. They worry that this is a larger problem that will extend to performers all around the Pact Worlds. And so, in conjunction with the Extreme League, the Starfinder Society has hired you to throughout the course of your wrestling careers. Watch out for these wrestlers, figure out who it is that's after them, stop any problems that arise, and you have a small stipend to do so. You all received a little bit of money for that, about 2,000 credits before you leveled up. Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about what it is that you did as you went on your shopping trips and what you bought to help prepare you for your next mission?
I'll go first. I spent nothing because I don't need nothing. All I have is my entropic strike and bear brawn, so there's nothing that I need to buy at all. I put it all in savings like my mom told me to.
Oh, you're such a good bear son, Bear Drills.
Exactly.
Is it just because you want to eat their faces with your teeth and you don't need no stinking weapons?
I have all the sustenance that I need with close proximity to enemies.
I mean, maybe it's just all of my experience with Dave's parents and grandparents, but putting it into a savings account like your mother told you sounds like the sort of thing that leads to your mother stealing all the money that you just invested.
That is exactly what happened with my college fund.
Was there even a college fund to begin with?
That's what she called it. It was really just the trunk of our car.
It seemed that Dave even went to school.
Look, I hung around outside school long enough to listen to a lot of lectures. That's how I became such an expert at enforcing the law.
You have a piece of paper that sure has your name on it and some type of degree and some type of signature on it that proves your identity, right?
Sure, that's what these business cards are, right?
Yeah, business cards totally count as a degree, right? I'm sure anyone who attended university can confirm that. Oh, so John, did you buy anything in specific to help prepare you for this mission?
Almost all of Tehwas's money went into going under the knife, so to speak. She has
Oh.
acquired augmentations, and the most obvious one, which would be she smells a little bit ranker than usual, and she has a rather ghastly hand, replacing one of her little spike arms that she usually uses to somehow hack computers and wield weapons. I still don't understand this about Embreeze, but they make it work, so good on them. Otherwise, in addition to her usual white, black, and purple jumpsuit or combat uniform, she has added several things taken away from all of the major wrestlers, including the Skulk, that we beat up and took as trophies. So she's basically carrying a whole bunch of their like bits of wrestling belts and medals and bits of uniform and other things like that, which will no doubt strike terrible fear into all of the wrestlers that she intimidates from here on out.
Oh, excellent choice. And Ayanara, you're new to this crew, and we'll get into a little bit of how that comes about. But why don't you tell us a bit about what Moxie has outfitted herself with?
Well, after getting a bit of a payout from those nice video dividends and whatever means, I managed to get some equipment that I didn't think I'd ever afford, like this fancy new suit. It's gonna keep me nice and safe, and of course,
Ooh.
that means to maybe fight dirty in the ring. Well, not officially, of course, just under the table, but nothing too fancy. Just a weapon or two, and it's so some things to keep me healthy when push comes to shove.
You know what? Having protein shakes on hand is not a terrible idea. And if you don't drink them, you can always smash them over somebody's head, right?
Whatever works.
Whatever works. I love that attitude. All right. So you guys went shopping and you have bought some stuff to help outfit yourself. You have been asked to meet the kiddo in Absalom Station, specifically outside the Spike, in a little production studio that he has rented for X.T.R.E.M. And you have only a few details in that there are two wrestlers who are were on the list that were found with the Skulk, and those wrestlers' names are the Undersnaker and his sister Jane. Those two wrestlers are known for their tag team events, and there is a large tag team event happening down in the Spike later in the next day. You guys, as extremers, are partnering with the Undersnaker and Jane's League, which is New Planetary Order. Yes, that is totally a play on a real thing, but it is legally distinct. Thank you very much. And so you are needing to meet the kiddo to talk to him about this situation, and you only know that you are going to be tag team folks. Is there anything you guys want to do before you meet up with him there? You have transport there pretty easily, so it's not a problem for you to meet him where you need to be.
I'm excited to acquire a permanent friend in a match who will be latched onto me eternally and have
When you
no
say
objection
transport,
to it.
does that mean something? Does that mean Tehwas will not be driving us to our new location?
No, that means a starship and driver and pilot have been hired for you to get you to this situation because everybody knows what happens when Tehwas pilots things.
We've made it to the big time, folks.
Hurt just like none of my passengers were hurt when I deftly landed them on top of some sort of Fastron rig. And this is the abuse I take.
I mean, two of us had like jump jets, which we still have, by the way, right?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, we had jump jets to keep us alive, and I think one of us still took damage.
I was riding on the back of Hieronomo Jones, so
Didn't you get knocked unconscious as you were flying off of the roof trying to land on the hover car? Somebody took enough damage to get knocked
probably that
unconscious.
sounds like something I would do.
Yeah, so it might not have been pretty, but it sure was dramatic, and your viewers absolutely ate it up, and it was all intended to be that way, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. That's what the footage says.
Yeah, we can edit it to make it look like we meant to do everything.
That's right. You'll fix
except
it
for the stuff that's criminal. We definitely.
Yeah.
By the way, Litigator, Granny P and Mama Martha are welcome to come with you on this mission, and I assume that they are not giving you any choice and are just showing up.
Yeah, I desperately would like them not to come with me, but they 100% are going to come no matter what I want.
All right, so you guys, are you going to go ahead and walk into the little production studio there with the kiddo?
Great.
Let's do it.
All right. So you walk into this production studio. This is about as drab and dingy as you would expect anything that X.T.R.E.M was able to pay for. It's a little bit bigger than you might expect because normally these production studios are often held in basically glorified closets. However, a little bit of success means that the kiddo could splurge on this production studio. So,
Okay, guys, remember, if they ask you to sign anything, use the names I told you earlier.
This is just a card with an X on it.
Yeah, you can pronounce it however you want. All the letters are silent.
I'm looking at it, and my bare brain's just handling it very well. What?
Don't worry, I'll sign it for you.
Okay, and I pass it to him to sign.
all right, so you are all figuring out what it is that your legal names are, and it sounds like they're not even really names, they're just noises. But that's perfectly fine because you're sitting there in little plastic, like kid-sized folding chairs, which is particularly awkward for you, Bear Drills, while you're waiting for the kiddo to emerge from the room behind you that is all filled with equipment. And he does so, opens up the door very dramatically, makes a pose as he enters into the room, and you see that this is the same producer that you know and love. He's an android with pink face plating, one of the plates being kind of black and mismatched, as he's clearly had to try to kind of repair his situation a few times. He's got one eye that's slightly gray, and the other eye is very shiny and black as he puts his hands on his waist, and he looks at you all and he says, "My stars, my babies, you've returned, and you've even done so almost on time, very close. Anyway, what about that last event that we had? Can you imagine how many extra endorsements we've been getting? All of the offers, all of the fans, all of the posts, all of the merchandise we're selling. You are my cash babies, my stars. I need to thank you very much before we get started yet again on this next very secret mission that I need to ask of you."
Yeah, good to see you too, kiddo. I just, all that money that we're raking in for you. Glad that we saw a whole 1,000 credits of it. And how about that private jetliner that I heard you bought recently? Coincidence?
Look, it was third hand and it was on sale and it was something that I needed to do my job. I really hope that you understand. In fact, here, maybe this will help you out a little bit. We have partnered with the Starfinder Society, who is very concerned about these wrestlers that are in danger from Skulk Nation. They have promised to pay you each 1,000 cool credits if you are able to stop a sabotage of an event that's coming up. Is that something that you can do for me, my babies?
I lean over to Litigator and I'm like, how much is rent in this city?
Far less than that, but I'm at least 3 months behind. I don't know about you, so I would take anything you can get.
It's like, you lean back and like, the drill accepts.
I don't know, these Starfinders, I've heard about them. They're really reckless, aren't they? Like, they make us look safe. Litigator, isn't like the Starfinder Society one of your major clients?
Yes, I'm actually being sued by the Starfinder Society right now as we speak, but I also have a number of them as clients. Mostly personal injury cases, a few wrongful death suits, the usual. But yeah, it's pretty risky work if that's what you're getting at.
Hang on. I must have a bone to pick with you, Tehwas. They make us look safe. Might I remind you who it is that flew the helicopter into the side of the building during our last event that we were barely able to convince the public was staged?
Allegedly flew the helicopter into the side of the building.
We fixed it in
First
post.
off-
That footage is still out there.
Yes, and what has been drawing you all of that viewership and money? And ask yourself again, did you have to actually buy that helicopter, or was it a free prop that you just got to exploit for your own merchandising? I think you know the answer to that, so why don't we just forget that I seem to have a bit of a high insurance premium and we'll just keep on going.
Did we ever figure out who that helicopter actually belonged to?
It was an old abandoned helicopter that was used by the mining company that owned the facility.
It's true. If you park it and you leave the keys in it, that counts legally as abandoning.
Well, you know, possession and crashing into the top of a roof is 9/10 of the law, right, Litigator?
All of the evidence was destroyed in a fiery conflagration. So what are you gonna do?
That's right. And you know, the framing, I'm sure, was cut off very subtly so that Granny made sure the helicopter could not be identified. And as far as the audience assumes, that was owned by the League.
No, the license plate's blurred, like at every opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah, the license plate on the helicopter.
So Bear Drill, sounds like you are accepting this, and the kiddo's going to look at you and rock back on his heels and point at you with a couple of finger guns and go, "That's my boy! That's my Bear Drills! My cash cow! Or should I say my cash bear, my babies? All right."
I like to look at Litigator and shake my head. No, it's not okay with me. It's not okay.
It's very insulting. He's just going to gloss over it as if he hasn't noticed that he's insulted you by calling you a cash cow. As he puts his hands together, he says, "All right, here's the deal."
Wait, isn't Brandy Brutal actually literally a cow person?
Yeah. So that is actually a major compliment, because Brandy Brutal was, you know, this much more prominent, well-known wrestler, and for you to be the cash cow instead of Brandy Brutal, you know, the kiddo is actually paying you a pretty good compliment there.
Yeah, he passed up the opportunity for a super obvious pun just to compliment you. You should take that as a compliment.
I'm glad I was spared today.
And so the kiddo just claps his hands together and he says, looks at all of you individually. "So, how much experience do you have with tag teams?"
1,301 points. Thank you very much.
I don't know what that means, but that sounds great, because that's exactly what I need you to do. You have been part of a very important partnership with, you might have heard of them, the New Planetary Order. And his eyes start shining as much as they can for an android who's got one dull iris poking out.
They know the trail. I was like, what is he talking about?
Don't worry about it. Just nod.
Okay.
Is it too late for me to insist that I work alone? Because I'm pretty sure I work alone.
you can't work alone here because, and this is the secret, you're not actually there to wrestle. In fact, you are there to wrestle, and he winks, but your real mission, that you're getting paid for, I might remind you, is that you need to make sure this event goes off without a hitch. There is some element of Skulk Nation that has infiltrated itself, burrowed like a worm through the sand into the crew. That's all that we know, and all the Starfinder Society was able to glean. But you need to go to the staff facility right outside of this arena where this event is going to happen. You are the wrestlers, but you were there early because you are filming a documentary that we will stream live to all of our audiences to commemorate this special tag team event called, and are you ready for this? This is my great title that I've come up with. It's all about our collaboration with New Planetary Order. I can see it up in lights now on all of the video screens around Absalom Station. Extreme Planetary Order. Rude, crude, and uncensored. What do you think?
The uncensored is metaphorical, right? We're allowed to remove what doesn't make us look good, what's prosecutable, the usual.
Of course, why do you think they're there? And he points over to Granny P and Mama Martha, who are standing behind you, and you notice that they have got a mostly brand new little camera, and with a shiny little remote control. Looks like a new piece of equipment that's been given to them to record this.
Kind of looks like they made a lot more money off this than any of us did.
Hey, don't hold it don't hold it vertical. Don't hold it vertical. I'm talking to you, old lady.
So speaking of working alone, I can't help but notice in Hieronomo Jones's absence, seeing as he was the only one of us who actually got a decent contract from the whole gig, that you seem to have seen fit to include some pipsqueak to accompany us now. What is the deal here?
What do you call me? I'll jump up on my chair.
I was merely referring to you. I'm sure this will go over entirely well.
Oh, and here I thought Hieronomo Jones just eating one of those magic fruits turns you into something.
No,
What happened to Jones? What happened to Jones? Did he get a lawyer job at all? Or did they put him in another position? Where did he go?
Hieronomo Jones has, we'll say, gotten lucky enough to get enough contracts for various other events that he has left the Extreme League for brighter.
Oh no, he's wrestling in a league upstate.
No.
Yes, he can run and play all day long with other wrestlers. He'll be fine.
I won't say that this little escort bodyguard mission is beneath him, but I will say that he has a very lucrative deal and that he has chosen other employment opportunities. However, I have arranged for one of our newest up-and-coming wrestlers, Moxie, here to join you, and I assume that you've all met each other already, right? Tehwas, didn't you fight her in the ring a few weeks ago?
Not that I would remember, but by up-and-coming, you still got a couple of feet before you can ride this roller coaster.
She had a few minutes of awkward silence in the elevator on the way up here.
Moxie, why don't you show them what you can do? As he steps back.
I stretch. What's around here? What's up and around?
So this is a sort of waiting area in the production studio. There's all of those chairs that I had mentioned. There's shelving. This used to be an insurance office. So there's various desks and things that you could climb up on. There also are exposed rafters, metal rafters, in fact, at the very top that you could skitter up and kind of climb on and swing around if you wish. It's kind of an unfinished sort of office environment that probably used to be a garage or some other type of storage facility.
I'd do like a quick obstacle run wrap, doing parkour, jumping on the different bits of office ware and trying to get up on the rafters with a single leap.
Yeah, why don't you? Awesome, that sounds great. Why don't you make an acrobatics check? Actually, let's have you do an athletics check to jump, and then we'll have you do an acrobatics check to do your what is it that you're doing? Are you flipping around in the rafter?
Yep, flipping around, and then I'm gonna land safely on my feet once I jump off the rafters.
Yeah, go for it.
So athletics to jump. Oh no, this is 16.
Ah, yes, you have already been stricken with the curse. Welcome to the stream. We don't roll higher than 10 here.
Oh no!
So you get a 12, so you clamber a little bit. You don't quite get as high as you wanted to on that shelving, so you're gonna have to.
I do have the jet dash feet, so
Yeah?
I jump twice as far as I usually can.
All right, so it looks like you have a healthy way up there, 10 feet or so up in the air, and you are able to shake off the fact that maybe you didn't quite get as high as you wanted to. Make your
I haven't
acrobatics
stretched it. I haven't stretched it. Give me a second. All right. I got this.
The litigator will hand you a business card, which when you look at it actually says it's for Dr. Cletus Van Dyke, plastic surgeon, which he then takes back quickly from you and then hands you one of his own. Daeve Palanshuk, personal injury lawyer.
I put it in my cheek. I eat it.
Just eat it and start in your... Is it plastic? Is it not just going to melt in there?
I feel like
They're all resistant to various fluids.
Makes no difference. I'm not going to use it. All right. Now I'm going to jump off. Flip around.
All right, do it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, welcome to the team. You'll fit right
Oh
in.
no! Oh my god!
That was the interview, and you aced.
There's like,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
she fits. She fits here.
So Moxie, unfortunately, your little fingers slip off of the bars in the ceiling, and you just, after having a very impressive swing to grab onto it, fall all the way down to the ground and just kind of tumble. And you're going to take 4 points of non-lethal damage.
When she falls and splats, I immediately get up in surprise and go, "She's perfect! Welcome to the team!" And I just pick her up like, "Oh, it's so great to have another failure in the team."
Nothing like having somebody else who makes me look good.
I weakly raise a thumbs up and then just plop back down.
It's not failure if it looks good on video. Important thing is to get hurt temporarily.
Kiddo, where do you find these?
The kiddo is just standing there with his head in his hand as he's shaking his head. His eyes are closed. He even started doing that before Moxie fell down to the ground, so it's kind of like he sort of knew what was probably going to happen. As he sighs loudly while Bear Drills is picking her up, hugging her, and welcoming her to the crew and says, "This is what our viewers want to see. This is what they find so entertaining, is you pull all of these shenanigans, and then all of a sudden you wow them with your real skills. I hope that you actually have real skills this time. But no matter, as long as you film everything," and he points over at Granny P and Mama Martha with their little small shiny new camera drone that they've gotten. He says, "As long as you film everything, this should be a success for all of us. This should really please our fans, and we should be getting donations all night before the event. And that's really what we're shooting for. Don't worry, you'll see your share of the profits." And he winks at you.
Does he even have eyelids? I guess he has them installed specifically on the one eye that he winks.
Yeah, but it's a very mechanical looking wink where it's just like as it comes down. And then it opens back up, and it's just creepy and unsettling. He thinks he's being cool. So after that, he starts to chuckle again a little bit and says, "Now figure out amongst yourselves who wants to be on a tag team with whom. It doesn't really matter to me as long as you put on a good show. The camera will start rolling as soon as you are outside the staff facility for New Planetary Order, and I want you to go inside and film all of the crew as they are getting ready for this event. Make it seem like it's a very dramatic situation. We've got some loaded up music that we can play in the production studio while all of this is going on. Try to pan the camera away from any gory bits if you find any trouble, because we all know that trouble finds you. It is part of our league name, after all. But otherwise, you are on your own for figuring out exactly what this threat is, and we hope that you can stop something terrible from happening, like, you know, our star wrestler getting grabbed by a drone and flown away from the arena onto an old mining facility and presumed dead. Can you please try to avoid that this time?
This time, as the kiddo's talking about needing to find a partner, Tehwas sort of does the deadpan, slow pan, looks at Moxie, like just has this stares like no, looks at Daeve, oh heck no, looks at Bear Drills. You know, least terrible of the bunch. And she just sort of slowly sidles toward the bear.
It's like, oh, it's a new friend. I've never had friends before. And I hug Tehwas. It's like, we'll be good partners.
Aren't you
I have chosen poorly.
Aren't you still hugging? What's your name again?
Yeah.
I mean, you're a bear, so you hugging is in your blood. You can hug them both at the same time.
I let go of Moxie. Like, sorry, we only have room for one friend.
I appreciate it. I couldn't breathe. I was scared.
Well,
you'll be fine.
Me,
you get to go with the cutthroat lawyer now.
I've never cut anybody's throat.
It's very true. My boy has never cut anybody's throat, or at least never anybody that we can prove, right, boy? As Granny P pipes up from the background.
Is all I hear say.
Definitely, yeah. No matter what the neighbors say,
That's right. No matter what might be on the merchandise. Oh, what do you think about a trucker hat? Litigator. First cuts free. And you got a knife out in your hand that's got a little bit of blood on it. What'd you say about that piece of merchandise, Litigator?
I say you've probably already got a truckload of them waiting outside.
You know me so well, Chucky. You're such a good boy. Yeah, he's such a good boy, isn't he? Mama Martha pipes up. All right. Hi there. Sorry about that, everybody. We're having some technical difficulties, but I think we might be back, and I think we might be ready to continue our weird wrestling action. What do you think, Peyton?
That's good. Everyone in chat, sorry for the technical snafus. I think we fixed it. Unfortunately, it's the nature of playing online and everything else, and everyone working from home, eating up the server. So we apologize for any snafus. But unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. The Game Master Ajax. Everyone still say goodbye to Ajax, our wonderful temporary Game Master. Goodbye.
He had a short but eventful run.
And boop, there's Amanda. There you go.
Hello. So Tiny Secret Ajax is still here. Just the picture might be gone, but he is literally right behind me. So no worries. And you guys will probably hear or see somebody at some point, which is your opportunity to shout it out so that we can use a random wrestling move. Speaking of random wrestling moves, the kiddo has asked you all to form tag teams and show up to the staff facility for the new planetary order to represent the partnership between X.T.R.E.M and NPO, as you are not only fighting in the main event tomorrow, but you are filming a documentary of behind the scenes events and behind the scenes footage of what happens before one of these large events. And all of the fan base is very excited for all of this. So you are all turned loose with your field producers, Granny P and Mama Martha, as you are ready to take some hover bikes that are being used for the X.T.R.E.M transportation services to the outside of the new planetary order facility. And let's put you all there.
Hover bikes? Oh boy.
Yeah. I hear Tehwas's voice perk up there. Do you have something that you like to do with vehicles, Tehwas?
I mean, I'm just saying that I hope they don't expect these hover bikes back in pristine condition.
Well, if the keys are in the ignition or accessible, then we can assume no.
Are these some nice bikes?
They're probably second or third hand, just like the kiddo's private jet. Second or third hand, certainly not brand new or very expensive or money that they should have been giving to you for all of your trouble.
They're probably nicer now than they will be in an hour. Let's just put it that way.
So you guys are all headed over to this facility, and you've got Granny P and Mama Martha following on a bike of their own, riding akimbo on it. As you hear Granny P shout from the background, "Hey! hey kids, do something exciting, do something good for the crowd so that we can show them exactly what is up with the X.T.R.E.M wrestlers. We'll sell lots of merchandise if you can do some cool tricks. And you all have the opportunity now to do something to impress the streamers, and impress the audience watching the stream, rather, and do something really cool as you zoom up to the gates of this staff facility. What are you doing?
No, I can take it. Go ahead, Moxie.
Sorry, are we each on a hover bike? Just to...
Yes, you are.
All right. Okay, sorry, that's it. Go ahead.
So it goes without saying that that Bear Drills is riding a hover unicycle, right?
I believe it was with a little hat and little symbols.
Yeah, he still has the fez left over from the sidecar ride on the way over.
It probably is the same sidecar for saving budget.
Yeah, we welded it on your hover bike, Litigator.
I have my own fez, but thank you very much.
No, it's the sidecar, not the fez.
All right, Bear, hop on in.
All right, so as we're kind of driving in, and they're expecting us to do some neat trick, and he's like, "Do you trust me, Litigator, to do something neat?"
Wait, aren't I driving?
Good luck.
Yes.
And I basically take my hand, and basically as we're kind of going down, I assume there's like a crowd or something, or they're recording anything. I like take my fist and I slam down and kind of using it as like an anchor. Other hand is grabbing the bike. I'm trying to use my massive strength and then kind of like make us do like a cartwheel in a way. Like left hand is now like bringing up the freaking hover bike. It's hard to illustrate what I'm doing here. It's like I'm like slamming it down, doing some cool superhero move by like twisting it, making it do a flip to where I'll eventually land on my feet, holding the bike above me. It'll be just going like drills, and basically just holding it up, flexing. Like I just basically catapulted out of this thing while holding the bike at the same time with Litigator in it.
I like it. It's genius because I am, still riding in it. I'm going to try and make it more complicated, dangerous, and crowd-pleasing by, while you're doing that flip, I want to try and jump out of it in motion. And then after you catch the car, land on top of it and just shoot a lightning bolt into the sky.
So I give a quick look to Moxie with an unspoken, well, I guess we're going to be partners now because neither of ours will survive.
I just stare back quietly and then look at my motorcycle before I rev it up as well.
So while you guys are trying to work out the existential crises that is being forced to work with each other, Bear Drills and Litigator, I'm gonna need some rolls from you. So Bear Drills, that's probably an athletics roll, I would assume.
Yeah, it does sound like that, doesn't it?
It sounds like an athletics. Yeah, and so Litigator, now explain to me what it is that you're doing. You're jumping up on top of this thing while Bear Drills is flipping.
I'm waiting for Bear Drills to land, to lean over and sort of flip the hover cycle up into the air. As he does so, I want to use the momentum of the hover cycle that he's swinging up there to catapult myself out of it. Fortunately, I was already not wearing a seatbelt, and leap out of the thing and then land on it on the top of it after he gets it held up over his head, and then shoot a lightning bolt at the guy.
All right, that sounds a little bit more difficult than what Bear Drills is doing, so we're gonna have you
when you put it that way, yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're gonna have you do an athletics gear first.
Okay,
athletics check to see if this even works.
Yeah,
athletics or acrobatic?
So for Bear Drills, it's gonna be athletics, and for you, you're gonna have to do one of each.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll
half
go ahead
good
and do
half terrible.
I will do my athletics check, and that's gonna be the thing is a little bit wrong. It's not supposed to be a +3. It's supposed to be a +6 to my 16.
Better. So that's even better. Bear Drills, how can a bear move so gracefully, and how can a bear flip his bulk so gracefully while keeping the hoverbike balanced on his paw? I don't really know the answer to that question, but somehow you have done it. So you've got Granny P, who has got that little hover drone camera that's just zooming in ever so closely as she's just like, ha perfect, ha, do it again. And Litigator, now it's your turn. This is your time to shine, buddy.
Excellent. What checks do I need to make?
You need to first make an athletics check and then an acrobatics check.
Okay, so can you describe exactly what it is that I'm trying to do with each check?
Yes, because
definitely not so that I can prepare to describe how I fail.
So what you're doing is you are like pulling yourself up on top of this while it's being flipped right so that you can stay upright on it. And then yes, do that.
Here comes the athletics check first.
Yeah.
Is that a flat 7?
It sure is.
All right, so you are. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it sounds like I might have had a little bit of trouble getting out of my car seat.
Yeah, so you are trying to scramble and pull yourself up out of that car seat, and while you flip your legs over top of your torso, you lose your balance a little bit, and you actually start to scramble. So instead of an athletics check, I am going to have you make an acrobatics check to see if you are able to fall onto the ground in a sufficiently heroic-looking pose that you can save face. Oh no!
The curse.
Well, his face was involved.
That's a 5 on the die.
That is a 5.
Yeah, it's it's.
So unfortunately, Bear Drills, you look awesome while you're doing this. And
I flex.
For a split second, Granny P is looking out of her peripheral vision at the litigator, waiting for him to do something really cool. And as she sees him start to fall and flounder and sputter and faceplant on the ground, which is what happens with the result of that check, she just turns back and grumbles to herself and says, "We should have backed the bear. We should have backed the bear for the wrestler, right? What do you think would happen if we just decided that we were going to be the Bears manager instead?" And she's trying to be very quiet, but it's really not coming across that way, litigator. And you can
she's not trying to be quiet at all. That's how she motivates me.
That's right. How would you be able to be a better wrestler, boy, if you didn't always have me on your back? You'll be thanking me when you finally stop falling on your face in front of the crowd onto the ground, and when you finally stop crying whenever you do all of these bad things.
I'm not crying, Grandma. That's blood.
Well, one way or the other, we'll make you into a better wrestler one day yet. But until then, I think the Bears got you.
Out of the infinity of the multiverse, there was definitely at least one reality where that worked.
You keep telling yourself that, boy. You keep telling yourself that. And as she is going to pan directly onto Bear, and she looks at you, Bear, and she says, "Listen to this!" And she punches a bunch of buttons. And you can hear like bing, 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 bing. And as you do, she says, "Ah, the sweet sound of donations. Keep it up, Bear. Keep it up. You're making us a fortune."
It's like, yes, the more that you donate, the more that I will be able to do even more fantastic flips into the future. It's a donation incentive. And I basically just do various flexes. And then I check on the rest of my teammates to see what they've done.
Yeah, Moxie and Tehwas, it's your turn to do something
Just giving
cool.
the audience what they want. Me getting hurt.
And by the way, Bear Drills, for that success in impressing the crowd and getting donations, you get a +2 on all of your charisma encounters, charisma-based skill checks for the rest of the day.
Yes.
So note that for your bluff, diplomacy, intimidate, and such like that.
What? I can do way better. And then I'm going to rev up my hover bike, my cycle. I'm going to make it speed in front of me, and I'm going to jump off and do several flips in the air and try to land back on it. And I intend to do a wheelie right after.
Oh, yeah, very cool. Okay, do you have any ranks in piloting, by the way?
I do have a rank in piloting.
Oh, awesome.
What? You can put ranks in that?
That's not a real skill, or at least it wasn't for the wrestlers in the previous arc when nobody had it and everybody crashed everything.
Oh, well, I do.
All right, so what I'm going to need from you is an acrobatics check to do those flips off of the bike, and then a piloting check to do the wheelie and see if you can look really cool and, burn some rubber while you're doing this.
All right, acrobatics, don't follow me now.
Oh, yeah, Moxie, you beautifully jump off of that hover bike. You do 3 flips in the air. You fling your little mouse arms out proudly as you land gracefully back on that hover bike.
I do a quick finger guns to the camera, and I'm gonna try to do my wheelie.
Oh no, you don't. That's
Yeah.
ow.
Those
Shut
finger
up, boy.
gun.
If you want to do finger guns, she can. Look at her. Look at her. She's so much better at the finger guns. That's no longer your thing, boy. You can't have the finger guns. We give them to Moxie.
I like how this.
That with size.
I like how driving up to the driveway has just been a eternal emotional detriment to just the litigator. It's just his entire life is now crumbling.
It's like the 4th time that's happened this morning. I'm used to it whenever I go out with Grandma.
Grandma has now just taken away like one of your signature moves and given it to Moxie because apparently she's better at it. By the way, you can still do that, Litigator. Grandma is just trying to motivate you through negativity as she does.
Yeah, but now I don't want to anymore. What do you think about that?
I think that Moxie is the better wrestler. I think we're gonna pair the bear with the Moxie and we're gonna sell all kinds of merchandise and you aren't gonna get your cut. You're gonna have to go back down to the dirt leagues. The dirt leagues, you hear me? Unless you do better.
Oh no, I am not getting paired with the litigator. So,
I mean, you can argue with Grandma if you want.
so while Moxie is starting her cycle of flips,
Right?
Tehwas is going to see about messing around with some of the control panels on this hover cycle because I'm pretty sure that some part of it I can adjust the intake or the choke or something like that to really mess with the engine a whole bunch. My aim right now is to use engineering to throw off a bunch of like how the engine is working to see about kicking up either a whole bunch of dirt or a whole bunch of smoke so I can obscure Moxie, who's trying to overshadow all of us clearly, and bring attention to myself before I pop my own wheelie. Thank you kindly.
All right, so before you do that, I should let Moxie know that for your rousing success in invigorating the crowd, and you've got Granny back there applauding for you, you get a +2 to all of your dexterity-based checks for the next few hours while you are investigating things. So, Tehwas, you are going to be using your engineering, yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna mess with how this cycle works.
All right, so are you rewiring things, or what does this look like?
I assume that in the future they basically have like a tablet screen or something like that where I can take my fingers and move one bar up and one bar down, and of course it flashes the sign that says this is going against factory settings, and I just handle and override that to do whatever I can to get a big pile of exhaust or kick up dirt or whatever the heck I can do to obscure and overshadow this rival.
Are you trying to reach Mach speed and thus overshadow Moxie, whose entire shtick is all about running faster than the speed of sound?
I am now.
Tehwas, that is diabolical.
I have to reinforce my place within the pack.
So that is just enough of an engineering check for you to be able to tap into basically the turbocharge of this bike, and you flood the engine with its fuel, and you are just zooming away, and there's a big puff of sort of like smoke and things that wouldn't necessarily happen before, as you just zoom away, and you leave all of them in the dust while you go faster.
Oh, cackle.
So you are also going to be doing something else.
Yeah, I'm going to see about popping a wheelie now that I'm ahead.
Yeah, all right. So what are you
I got to
doing?
show off my new piloting rank. There we go.
So you actually hear behind you in the distance, you hear Granny P shouting, and she's getting softer as you're getting further away. Like, hey, wait for us! This is gold! This is gold! We gotta get this on camera! As she's like, trying to get the camera drone to be able to follow you.
Good. Well, I'll slow down long enough to only be driving with one of my hover wheels. Let's try this new piloting skill.
Oh!
That's unexpected. Wait a second. Hang on, a 14 on the die. No, I should have a +6 these days. Something ain't right. That should be 20.
That should be 20. All right. So tell me what exactly you're doing, because you have got the operation of this vehicle in the palm of your hand. Embries have palms, I guess.
I mean, I have one palm now, but that's only because of invasive surgery. So I figure that basically pop a wheelie and I will spin 360 on the back wheel like some sort of ice dancer performing for the crowd before I plop back down and rev forward. Long enough for, of course, the camera drone to catch up for just a moment.
Perfect. Oh, that's so smooth. And as you do so, you hear the drone has caught up to you. Granny P is still way in the distance, so you could kind of barely hear her as she's just like, yeah, you show my boy how it's done. You show my boy how it's done. Listen to this. And you can just hear the very faintest sounds of tink, tink, ding, 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 as there are all of these donations pouring in while everyone is impressed at your bike handling skills there, Tehwas. And you are also going to get a +2 to all of your dexterity-based skill checks for the next set of encounters.
Beautiful.
All right, so all of that takes you guys up to where you are being shown here on the map, which is right outside of this facility. Now, this is an old staff facility. You know, were given a little bit of information about it, or were able to look it up, you know, on your way to Absalom Station from Akaton, where you were before. And you know that this is an old medical facility that has been converted for several different uses since then, but is now owned by New Planetary Order, the Wrestling League, that is putting on this tag team event. The actual arena that is being used is an old sports field that is pretty much adjacent to this facility, but this is the facility where all of the staff have been bedding down for the last couple of weeks, getting everything ready, and all of the equipment and stuff has been retrofitted for the very specific uses for supporting the wrestling athletes and building out the physical facilities and creating everything that is needed for this production, including all of the technology and the streaming and things like that. So you are outside the front door of this place, and you have a very kind of rudimentary map that shows the shape of the outline of everything. You know that there is a receptionist for NPO that you probably are going to assume is going to be pretty close to the entrance. And you know that this receptionist name is Jory Pawson, but you don't ever know really anything else about them. You also know that there's like a league doctor who's living there temporarily, getting everybody, you know, making sure that they're all up to speed and being on call for if and when anything happens. There are a number of different like crews, a lighting crew, a sound crew, and things like that, and other individuals associated with the league. What do you guys want to do?
I think it might be time to mingle.
Arda?
I'm following the rest of the party at this point because it's like I'm not sure what to do here in a big office building thing.
I think I'm like half a block behind. Fell out of my motorcycle while everybody else was still doing tricks. Yeah, so I will eventually catch up and join the rest of the party.
Destroyed right in.
And while you do that, Litigator, you are going to come up on the facility, see all your friends waiting for you, and you've got Granny P and Mama Martha. Granny P is just like holding her hand over the lens of the camera, and you know, you can see that there's a big mute button that's been pushed on, and she's just like, "We paused the stream because we didn't want the viewers to see this shameful display," as she just looks you up and down and goes,
Walk of shame.
Yeah, that's right. Edit me out of the footage just like you did at my graduation.
Well, what did you expect? You had that shoddy-looking suit on, and all those other kids, they knew what was up, and you couldn't even be bothered to comb your hair, and you couldn't even be bothered to gloss up your outfit there. I don't really know what the problem is.
We don't have hair.
You got some hair right there.
It's a very wig, but
not with an attitude like Daeve.
Yes, Grandma.
Mama Martha flips her hair very indignantly with that beautiful blonde wig that she has on and her token that we've shown in the past before, as she says, "Speak for yourself, boy. You might not have any hair, but you should, and you should have done it right that day." just like me as she flips her hair back and walks in behind Granny P, who's just shaking her head and pointing at you.
It's not the first time I've failed today, and it won't.
All right, so while you guys all walk into the facility there, what do y'all want to do? This is up to you to film this documentary and actually try to find out if and who might be threatening the event tomorrow.
Well, I mean, walking in, it looks like there's some form of reception desk here with somebody behind it.
There is. When you walk in, you see that behind the desk there is a short little furry humanoid who's got little paws, and he's got a very smart sort of like blazer, a dark blazer that is over a little shirt with a cravat around his neck, as he has got little spectacles and looks up at you and says, "New planetary order, how can I help you?"
I feel so bad for this person because he's being introduced right when one of your pets comes on screen, which normally means wrestling move. So
Yeah.
it's just like, "How can I help you?" Body slam.
And Lori in chat has called out that Gwen, my cat, has shown up. So you all know what that means.
Or Brinary.
So who wants to try to incorporate the charging bison gutbuster into your introductions of yourselves to this receptionist who clearly works for the league that you are trying to partner with?
Right, but what better way to show our worthiness to partner with them than by immediately demonstrating our prowess? Ring. And by ring, I mean
I feel like this is one of those moments where, like, we're told you're not on the list, and we just bison gutbuster our way through anyway.
The first part seems very, very like.
Yeah, so I'll point out to this little Brinary. We are some of the new wrestlers here. We're here for the tag team match. Our fourth will be along any moment now.
What are you doing, Litigator, while you're pretty much moments from bursting into the door, and you can do so now if you want?
Well, I'm going to make up for my miserable showing earlier on by, well, I don't have an opponent yet, but these double doors are practically taunting me by having been opened and closed before I could even make it into the room.
That's
so
true.
I'm going to try and bust my way through the doors dramatically, almost as a bison would, were I a bison.
Yeah, all right, that sounds great. So I hear a charging bison gutbuster at the doors.
All right. So what kind of roll am I going for here?
Why don't you make me a melee attack roll against those doors?
All right. That's something that I'm not too terrible at. Terrible enough, but not too terrible.
Now, that's not a 6 total, is it? What is the actual total?
Yeah, that should be a 7 total.
7. Okay, so before I tell you what horrible thing actually happens, why don't you tell me what you're trying to do specifically with your charging bison gutbuster move on the door?
I'm trying to just sort of bust my way dramatically through the doors to make a good impression on receptionist or whoever's on the other side. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Putting your head down like a bison. Okay.
Yeah, because that's what bison do. I have a feeling that these are not, in fact, doors that open in, but we'll see.
If you make me a bison noise, you will get a bonus on that melee roll.
I don't have any idea what a bison sounds like, but I am more than happy to try and make a bison noise. Do you know what a bison sounds like?
Chat, what do we think a bison sounds like? And if no one says anything, I'm just gonna make a noise.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Like that?
Yeah!
We have hit sophistication.
All right, Litigator. So, unfortunately, you're trying to do this, and it could have been the perfect move, and it could have been an immediate statement of who you are and why you're here, and it could have looked amazing for the crowd. Unfortunately,
it still remains a statement of who I am and why I'm here, but
You rush at those doors, and Bear Drills is just standing right there, and Tehwas is just standing right there, and you don't quite get the opening that it is that you needed to charge through the entire thing. So you make that noise, and all that Jory can hear there, and all that the other wrestlers can hear there, is that sound followed by thunk, the loudest noise, while you just crash straight into that door, and you stumble through it. And you somersault into the room, and you end up straight on your butt.
Didn't even hear that. It was like a dying cow.
Well, at least I got a somersault out of that.
There's our fourth right there. So you'll find that we're on the list.
And Granny P and Mama Martha slink in from behind the litigator and just kind of whisper to themselves, "Cut that out, make it look like he actually broke through the doors. Yeah, I think we can make it look fine, all right?" As Granny P just cranes her head above the drone there and just kind of looks at you and makes eye contact and shakes her head again. And she's pointing at her eyes and your eyes as if to warn you, don't mess that up again. That's embarrassing.
Wait, you forgot the third finger. Like, you did two fingers, and it has to be like three of them.
That's right.
Yes.
You know, middle fingers on the top, two on the side. Like, yeah, I see you.
That's right. So Jory Pawson is watching all of this as Tehwas, you have announced that this is your fourth, and says, "Oh, you must be the extremers that I was told were coming today. Well, I hear you have some kind of documentary that you're filming. Is that correct?"
Yep. That's them back there.
So I suppose... Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead, Peyton.
I'm sitting quietly in a little tiny chair off to the side. And I kind of nod up and down, going, "Uh-huh."
So I suppose that you need access to these facilities. What is it that you are hoping to see?
Oh, really everything. We have to run some interviews, I'm sure. We want to see behind the scenes. We want to tell the unspoken story of the excitement here.
Well, I mean, this is a staff facility, and the excitement is people falling asleep in their beds at 2 a.m. while they're editing footage, but yeah, sure, we'll say that that's great viewing for the internet.
Oh, we can make things more exciting.
Definitely. Yeah.
So keep in mind that your guys' mission is to actually, like, figure out who might be conspiring against this event.
Yeah, so we're going to really want to arrange interviews with really everyone of note. Is there perhaps a list of staff that we could review so we can identify who we'd love to talk to? That way we can schedule time, you understand?
Schedule time? Well, I wish I could say that would be easy, but your best bet might be to just wander around. I mean, I can give you a staff list if you like, but, I mean, currently we've got, Dr. Mervin is in the medical lab facility and is working on all sorts of potential fallbacks for if and when something might happen. Is working on evaluating wrestlers and coming up with a plan. I'm sure you can talk to her. She'll probably have lots of things to say. We've got all sorts of individuals who are around here, but let me warn you against the lighting crew. They're kind of ruffians. Their names are the Chu Crew, and, you know, I don't know if you really want them to be on camera. They're a little bit rough.
What was that name one more time?
They call themselves the Chu Crew.
Okay.
I think it's because they all like to just chew on things, and they all like to just cause problems, and sometimes...
That explains why you hired them for a job involving a lot of electrical wiring. I get it.
I mean, they were very cheap, and look, you know, I don't make any money at all, so I'm not going to try to argue against it.
What, are you a volunteer?
Not exactly a volunteer, but let's just say this sure beats a hotel. Well, that I don't even have money for.
So what you're saying is somebody else is funding you being here?
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
And why wouldn't you say that?
Because
Exactly.
at least I'm paid in a place to stay and a little bit of food, and, you know, I guess I could call myself a fan, but you get kind of old and jaded, and you get tired sometimes of doing these things. But anyway, I'm still a perfectly fine receptionist. I can do my job. See? And he grins, and he's got these huge teeth, these incisors that are pointing down, as it's clearly a very affected grin.
And did we catch your name already?
The name's Jory Pawson. I'm somewhat of the administrator around here, or at least that's what they say they pay me for, and by pay, I mean, well, I just said.
Okay. Well, you said it's okay for us to just wander around and talk to whoever?
It is, as long as you try not to break too many things. There are people who get a little bit excited, a little bit over the top when they're in the facility. Some of these crew members are just glorified wrestling fans, and they want to try the moves themselves. And well, long story short, that's why we have the doctor on staff.
So try not to break anything. Of course.
Why are you laughing? What's so funny?
The professional rigor.
I don't even know what that means, but you're free to go do whatever you need to do.
Fantastic. So I guess I'll once we're out of earshot of this proud Bruneri, I'm going to comment to my companions, well, Dr. Mervyn, evaluating wrestlers could have all sorts of medical records of who is and isn't doing what.
I would kind of like to see a doctor after the 2 head injuries I just sustained.
Oh, wow, that's you, Daeve. I couldn't recognize you under all of that head loss.
It's okay. Most of it'll come back.
Hey, Litigator. How many fingers am I holding up? I'm not holding up any fingers.
I'm embarrassed to admit that, so I'm going to say
2, I think. 2 or 3. I don't know. How many fingers do Yosoki have?
I think he's fine.
All right, to the doctor. And I basically stand up from my chair and immediately start walking down. Like, which way to doctor?
Oh, behind me, to the right, through the doors.
Thanks.
We'll see.
I begin to march on.
Anything interesting as I walk around behind the disc right here?
You are noticing that it looks like this group of staff members hasn't necessarily been here that long. There's a few kind of bustling back and forth, but it's not a very lived-in space. There are boxes that are kind of stacked up in various areas that have got just like strange company names on them, and it looks like that this place is not necessarily really well taken care of by the League. They probably haven't got it for very long, and they probably don't even really necessarily like know where everything is or like where all of the different spaces are. They're just kind of using stuff as they need it.
Question. Is there a stapler on this desk?
Of course.
I try to take it very subtly.
Okay. Well, I believe that is going to be a sleight of hand check.
I like how in the far future, a stapler is still a stapler.
It's a space stapler, Peyton. Get it right.
It's just, it just electronically seals the paper together.
no, it's just a stapler. It just also shoots laser.
You just put plasma and nano in front of office equipment. It's a nano copier. It's a plasma stapler. These aren't the future.
Stapler.
Yeah, so Moxie.
Oh.
That's awful! That's terrible!
Okay, to help those listening.
22 to my 21 from a nat 20.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So Moxie, you are basically backing up very obviously, like shimmying your way over to the side of the desk with your hands behind your back, and Jory Pawson is not missing a thing, is looking at you directly, and you just like try to turn your back and grab that stapler as Jory just looks at you and goes, "Hey, what you doing there?"
You see, I kind of put on my uniform when I was doing some tricks on the bike earlier, so now I'm just gonna staple it shut. I just gotta staple at my shirt.
I'm going to try to create a diversion by injuring myself
there.
again.
Are you really?
Just bull rush the wall. What? Look at this.
Oh, look at that. We have to visit the doctor right now.
Exactly, yeah.
We need that stapler for his wounds. Quick.
Litigator, what are you actually doing?
I am going to, again, as I see that this looks like it's about to go off the rails, I will, I guess, pretend to trip, fall, and hit my head against the desk, thereby necessitating a trip to the doctor and hopefully taking the receptionist's mind off of attempted stapler theft.
All right, so since you're doing this and you're doing it very deliberately, I'm going to have you make a bluff check.
All right, that's something that theoretically I should be able to do. In practice, no.
It's just not surprising anymore. It's just,
oh my gosh.
I'd sit here and it's just a constant joke where it says you'll never roll higher than a 10 this entire session. I say it to be true.
Oh my god.
I would just like to point out that was an active attempt to fail and humiliate myself. Also, I can't even do that right.
Way to look good,
over
Dave.
your own feet. So, Litigator, I think you have a hero point. And I don't know if this is the best time to use it, but I want to give you the option just in case you'd like to make a poor decision.
Oh, it's definitely not the best time to use it, but that's what makes it the best time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna damn sure fall down and fake hitting my head convincingly.
All right. So, whereas a jury would have completely seen through the ruse and probably been very baffled, while you are falling forward and you hit your head there on the side of the desk, he's gonna jump up and be like, "Are you okay? Oh my, what happened? You didn't trip over something? We're not gonna get sued again, are we?" As he's just like kind of flittering and fluttering around you, clearly very concerned, not paying attention to you anymore, Moxie, and clearly not worried about the stapler.
If you do get sued, here, I know a good lawyer.
And I'll give her one of my business cards.
She's gonna take the business card and look at it and be like,
But I need a doctor right away. I may have suffered some internal bleeding. Better see somebody right quickly. Yeah, now.
"You've also bled all over my desk. Oh, this is just a mess. This is a nightmare. Just get into the theater behind me. That's where the doctor has been set up. You can have her look at your wounds there. I need to fix all of this. Oh, you extremers. I was warned that you were quite the crew, but you've really given me more than I've even expected." And she just kind of just mutters.
Did Moxie successfully get the stapler out of the room while I was humiliating myself?
Yes, she did.
Shame that
mission
happened.
accomplished.
Oh, great, wonderful. I put it in my cheek pouch.
Moxie, why did you actually steal that?
It'll come in handy later. Come on.
In handy. I can feel it.
It's a stapler.
This is the Chekhov stapler of our session.
The Chekhov. Okay, perfectly fine. All right, so you are all in the what was once a preparation facility for this medical situation. Has been kind of since converted into just a little bit of a storage area. So there's a whole bunch of equipment, like various things that you would find around a wrestling ring, props that would be set up. That's all kind of stacked up here in these big areas. And these doors in front of you have got a universal medical symbol on them, and you can hear a little bit of activity going on from behind it. Sounds like the doctor is in.
I think Atreus was like, "Go on. You're one of those doctor types too, right? You know how to talk to him."
I mean, I'm as much a doctor as Dave is a lawyer, so yes, I will lead the way into this facility.
Which is to say, I've successfully convinced myself, other people, that I am one, long enough to make a career out of it. Although a career that needs to be supplemented with professional wrestling money.
All right, so what does this facility look like? Like, how bootstrapped are we looking here?
Yeah, sure. So I am going to tell the litigator, because I didn't before, that you take a point of non-lethal damage.
Yeah, that seems about right.
From hitting your head, right? You know, fairly minor injury, but not nothing. So
Totally worth the hero point.
you used a hero point so that you could take damage. That has got to be a new usage for a hero point if I ever heard one.
No regrets.
No regrets. All right, so as you are going to open the door into this medical facility, it does, Tehwas, especially to you, really have the look of a former surgical theater. There is a table that's there in the middle that looks like, it once maybe was outfitted for surgery. It's now been set up to have various medical instruments kind of laid out on them and grouped in a way so that they be easily accessible based on different types of injuries. And the biggest thing that jumps out to you is a couple of things. In fact, there's a cabinet of supplies over here that has got a whole bunch of various healing serums. You assume, in like little vials, all kinds of like gauze and salves and healing patches and med patches and things that can be applied quickly as first aid to wounds that would be pretty much consistent with injuries that might be sustained in a wrestling league. There's also, splints and other things for more serious injuries. And the other prominent thing that you notice is there is a very large, four-legged, centaur-like creature in the middle, and you guys will probably recognize it fairly easily. It's a Sazaron creature, and she has got a little data pad in there, like is here on her token, and she's got a doctor's coat that's on, and she is fiddling with a line of 3 different like tall humanoid-looking robots when she sees you all walk in.
Quick little group huddle moment. So we're interviewing people. Is that our cover? Like that's what we're doing.
We're making a documentary. Yeah, you got to talk to people for that.
All right, I will try to draw attention.
Skunk and who's a skunk?
Yeah, it'll draw attention for Moxie to do whatever the heck it is she does, like steal stapler evidence.
So, Amanda, can I make a profession lawyer check in here to find out how many of the various medications on display have been the subject of class action suits?
Yeah, absolutely.
The prophecy has been broken. You rolled higher than a 10.
Yeah, that's because it's not an important check, or is it?
You got 13 with a 20 total.
Or is it? So you notice, Litigator, that the pharmaceutical manufacturing stamps are not really obvious to you from looking at the supplies in the cabinet, but there are boxes that are on either side of the cabinet, and they have got the name of a company that sounds vaguely familiar to you as having done a massive recall after having been sued several times for just faulty and unexplained effects from their products. So you don't know for sure that stuff is being used, but that company's the box indicates that the company is somewhat involved maybe in this outfit.
And maybe a potential sponsor. We'll have to talk later.
Oh, hello, Doctor. I'll wave for our camera drone to follow us along. Just the person we were hoping to speak with, as I sort of slither my way into the medical facility. I understand you're in charge of running all of the medical examinations of the wrestlers in this wondrous operation. Please tell me about some of your role here and how you joined this crew.
And are you having the camera drone kind of like go right up to her while she is going to give her response?
Absolutely. My job here is largely to be the in-your-face annoying interviewer for the moment, and so that way my companions can do whatever the heck it is they do.
So I assume you have various leading, vaguely accusatory questions lined up for whatever the follow-up is.
I mean, it depends on how much this person annoys me, yes.
So before you give that speech, Granny P has thrust an old bulky microphone your way and whispers it to you and says, "This is mostly for looks, but this'll help everything look real dramatic while you're asking all your questions." As she backs up, and you give that speech. So
it's
while
not even plugged into.
Shh! Don't tell the secrets. We don't want anybody to know what the deal is. Granny P says. So Tehwas, while you were asking those questions, the entire time the doctor has been fixated on these medbots that she has been working on and kind of mumbling to herself. And it's not even super clear right away whether she heard you until you stop. And she looks up and she says, "Ah, yes. Extremers, are you?"
I see you've heard of us. Good, great. We're here doing a documentary, you understand, so I was hoping I could ask you some questions about your profession, your role here, this wonderful lab you're in. You know, typical sorts of things.
This wonderful lab that you see all around you that is filled with boxes and trash and not even the correct medical equipment, is that the lab that you are referring to? As she kind of...
I was hoping you could tell us how you really feel.
Well, I'll tell you how I really feel. There is only one of me, and there's many of them, and all of these idiots, they keep hitting their heads on everything, doing all of these wrestling moves, being entirely reckless, causing all sorts of injuries to themselves. I have to take care of all of these idiots. I have to take care of all of these wrestlers.
When Tehwas started talking, Daeve was walking up to the counter to ask her for some painkillers. Halfway through that spiel, he's going to sort of stop slowly back door.
So what you're saying is it would be terribly upsetting to you if suddenly you had even more patients who needed your immediate help.
Well, yes, I've been told I have to make all of these things operational, and she points to these 3 medbots that are in a row. I don't even have any knowledge of engineering, really, and I'm told to make them work so that if anybody is potentially dying, that they can send the bots in, and it will be quicker. I don't really know why they expect these things of me. I'm not even getting paid very well for this gig.
Oh, well, perhaps I can help you with repairing these while some of my co-interviewers continue the line of questioning. My plan right now is to see about taking over some of the medbot repair, but my hope is that I can mess around with their software a little bit so that they can record what she's doing. That way they can spy for us while we're away.
The medbots can spy for you right away.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so anybody else want to do anything before we get to what happens when Tehwas examines the bots?
As soon as yeah, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, I'm searching the shelves, looking for any bits and pieces of papers or documents, anything that looks interesting and has a sort of a hint of what we're looking for. Some indication that there might be some foul play or patient dossiers, that sort of thing.
Yeah, sounds cool. Why don't you make a perception check to rifle through all that stuff while this conversation is going on?
Perception.
14. Okay, that's not too bad. So you don't have a lot of time because everybody's, just kind of talking and there's the interview that's going on. But you do notice that they're in the last week or so, and everybody's been here for a couple of weeks, there have been several reported injuries on the job filed for workers' comp, which could be relevant to the litigator if you mention it, of people on the lighting crew, which you remember is the crew of individuals that call themselves the Chu Crew, according to Jory Pawson, that they have injuries that are consistent with them wrestling in an unsafe way together. Like there's one has a broken leg, there's all kinds of contusions, there's various cuts that are being reported on them as if they've been kind of slamming each other into things and trying to mimic some of this stuff. But there are notes in each of these that just mentions how obsessed these crew members are with just trying to replicate the various wrestling moves that they're seeing. And it's above and beyond what a professional would do, even if they were fans of the production that they were working for.
So these Chu Crew fellas seem to be unusually accident prone. Might want to consider them as potential allies.
I don't know about allies.
And the doctor looks up as soon as the Chu Crew is mentioned, and she says, "Ah, yes, the Vlaka, Patra, Trox, and all manner of other individuals. They just, they're in and out of my office. I fell off of the building. I climbed up to the roof. I jumped off of the chair. They're just causing all sorts of problems. I really think that they are more trouble than they are worth, but, you know, it is very hard to find crew on short notice for some of these events. It's very dangerous work.
Are they only injuring each other, or have there been any interdepartmental wrestling injuries?
So far, it seems that they keep saying that they have accidents, but I am not stupid. I am a doctor. I went to medical school, and it's a real medical school. Let me remind you, I am a doctor. And she
Does
pauses.
she have a like a diploma or any sort of medical school certifications on display in the
Nope.
office?
Not up on the
Was
walls
just
that
about
you can
to
see.
That's
What
an
what
interesting
school
bit.
did you go to exactly?
I went to the medical college of the Redbirds Medical College. You have certainly heard of it, yes?
What's the motto?
Sounds plausible to me.
Our alma mater, it goes like this, and she starts just like humming the most out of key, off tune mess of a song that you ever heard. You have no idea what it's supposed to be, but it sounds like it's something, if that means anything.
Seems like less of a motto and more of a fight song.
Sometimes they're both one and the same.
That's right. I feel like you understand this. You must have also went to a very prestigious university, yes?
I did. My school was also named after a color of an animal. So, you and I, we practically went to class together.
We are classmates. Yes, I like you. I like you. You don't want to wrestle later, do you?
Is that a euphemism, or am
That's
I
a
still
very
reeling
odd
from the...
request.
It's bit ironic. All right.
Yeah, this doctor's really into the wrestling herself. This automatically raises some suspicion flags.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
I don't know. Aren't you a doctor who's also super into wrestling?
Oh, I'm not into wrestling. I just do this so I can get out all of my sociopathic instincts.
Well, you know, sometimes I like to answer the call for the volunteers with the Undersnaker and Jane. They need practice, and they need amateurs to help, so I like to help them, as long as they don't hurt me, as she kind of shudders a little bit.
What, has that happened before?
Oh, we all get hurt around here.
What's the worst injury that you've treated here?
I would say that it was probably when there was a pole that was through the chest of one of those poor boys. Yes, what was his name? I don't quite remember, but yes, he was one of the Chu Crew. And again, like I said, they are always claiming that they do these things to themselves, but I'm smarter than that. I know that they're just wrestling each other and being reckless.
Hold up. Did you just say a pole through someone's chest?
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, it was very gruesome. Lots of blood.
Who did that? That seems excessive, even for wrestling.
We had to send him home. It wasn't very pretty at all.
In a bag?
Maybe you should have sent him to a hospital. That seems like a more appropriate reaction to something like that.
I stop the bleeding and I send them onto the medical vehicle. And what happens after that? I wash my hands of it.
Oh,
On the other hand,
God.
it is Starfinder. There's plenty of races that could take a pole from the chest.
True, that's true.
So Tehwas, you are examining the various bots that are there. Did you want to make an engineering check, or what are you doing?
Yeah, that'd be lovely. I'm also making a mental note that it would be really good for us to talk to the Chu Crew later on and just see who has been wrestling with them, because it seems like they're the ones who keep on being subjected to terrible accidents. And I do wonder if there's a third party or a fourth party or fifth party, whatever it is, that keeps on shoving them into rebar.
Makes sense.
All right,
Nice.
so I have a 22 on my engineering check to examine these medical drones.
All right, so Tehwas, one thing is obvious. A couple of these bots are actually medical bots, and you notice that it really wouldn't take too much to get them working again. It's just a matter of reprogramming them. It's something that you could do in like 30 seconds. But you notice that the drone in the middle that she's fiddling with is not a med bot at all. In fact, it is more of a security robot. And while you are going about to touch it, all of a sudden the robot springs to life and lurches over toward the doctor to try to grab at her, and says, "Programming overridden. Attack intruders! Attack intruders!" As the doctor just starts spluttering and muttering and says, "They didn't tell me that this was an attack robot. How am I supposed to fix this? Oh, help me while I'm getting attacked!"
I immediately entrophic strike it. Just immediately just smash and just like, and boom.
You're just gonna punch it in the face.
Yep, I hit it with a 23.
Well, Bear Drills, you could do that. Unfortunately, the medical bot is all the way across the room from you.
But I'm also right by the table. Or is it all over there?
Yeah, it's all over there.
Oh, I charge it and didn't do that.
Oh, where did Trellis go? What?
He disappeared. He's gone.
It's gone.
He's gone forever. His token has disappeared. It's been deleted from the universe. There you go.
He just smoke bombed out.
There, we fixed it. Okay. So that medbot is actually right on top of you, Tehwas, as all of this happened.
Oh no.
I'm in danger.
No, you're in
whoosh,
the
and then
space.
bam.
You're in the space next to it, so you can shift down there, Tehwas. And why don't you all roll initiative?
And be sure to click your character.
Yes, please.
Click your character and then initiative. Don't worry, you got yours in.
Okay.
It's more like I'm sad at my
Okay, your
fatty
8 roll.
initiative. My
Right,
fatty 8 initiative.
So Moxie got 8. I got an 18. Daeve Litigator got a 19. And Tehwas got a 7. So you're not last.
All right, and our robot got a 15.
Yeah, because last is the West. Am I right, guys?
All right. So as this fight breaks out within the old medical facility here, you hear Granny P shout from the sides of the door here and says, "All right, now this is the kind of documentary that I'm talking about. Come on, boys and girls, why don't you show them what the extremers are really about, and make sure that you do it while the camera is on ya, so that we can get all of them sweet donations." And Litigator, it's your turn, and she points to you and says, "Show them what the Palanchuks can do, boy."
My opportunity, finally. My grandma's approval. Daeve will 5-foot step into the room and reach out with his electro hand to try and touch that robot.
Yeah, all right.
Let me. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Special ability is not a spell.
You can do it, I believe.
Ooh.
That
All
should have been a roll.
That's
Okay,
okay.
so
we
there's
can,
Yeah. Okay,
can
so
do
melee
it.
attack against EAC. Let's.
Yeah. And that is not going to hit Litigator as you lurch forward, and that bot has got preternatural reflexes as it jumps aside to avoid your strike, unfortunately.
The important thing was I quickly leapt into action first. Fail.
Is that what you're saying to Granny? You're like, make sure that you can see, make sure the camera can see me striking into action and just cut the fact that I missed this thing?
Yeah, you can fix that in post.
We always fix your mistakes in post, boy. Why do you think you even still have a job?
Actually, wait a minute. Somebody else gave me another hero point after I failed. This actually seems like a worthwhile thing
It
to spend
does.
a hero point on.
Do
I'm
it.
gonna do it.
Do it, Litigator. Granny is
But
counting on you.
It's the exact same roll.
Same roll.
So that doesn't count, right?
It absolutely counts, and you wasted that hero point. Womp,
You are
womp.
forever cursed, Daeve the Litigator. You
But
are
you know what?
forever
It wasn't-
cursed.
It wasn't worse, so I'll take it.
It wasn't worse. That's true. Cord, Bear Drills, you've got a little tiny robot right in front of you. What are you gonna do? The camera is on you, my friend.
I am going to do what I always do. Is that raise my fist as high as possible and drill into the robots. And you're gonna have to forgive me a little bit as I try to do a different method in which to do this in a way, because I kept trying to fix my roll 20 thing and it seemed
That's all right, no problem.
Oh, well, we'll just do this. Whatever. So, bam! And wow, I also can't roll higher than a 10 because I have cursed myself. But chat also did give me a point to re-roll, so I'm going to take advantage of that. And we're going to roll even lower, possibly a 1.
Roll that 1. Roll
and
that
it
1.
is.
It's the same one.
What is wrong with us? Hold
I
up.
think we
Hold
have
up.
a valuable lesson here about not spending hero points on anything.
Okay. Hold
You know
up.
when we
Roll
first
again.
rolled,
I gotta see something. And I'm cursed.
you rolled the same damage die too.
It's one every time. I am cursed forever.
You know when someone rolled, who was it? Who rolled the 2 nat 1s earlier?
That was John.
That was John.
John.
Yeah.
We were joking. You didn't have to spread that to the rest of us, you know.
You're welcome.
You're
Hey,
not cursed. You're not cursed.
At least you
At
pulled off that cool motorcycle trick earlier.
Yes.
That's true, unlike you, faceplant boy.
Yes, I know. No.
Yeah, that's my turn.
So that's your turn. All right. Are you
All I
gonna?
can do.
So, I'll point out that there is this table of instruments on it that you can easily jump up on. There are those boxed up sort of supplies that are over there. There's a little. There's the cabinet that Tehwas and the Litigator were looking at. There's stuff in this area that can be used to your advantage while a bot is trying to murder you. And
We're
with
doing a
that
great job
said-
so far of just flailing ineffectually at this stationary object. I think
We're giving it up for its money. We can't let the fight end immediately. We got to give them some sort of a show. But
That's right.
I guess my movement speed that I direct my shield to the robot.
Okay, sounds good. And it's a good thing that you did that because that robot has turned to you as the largest creature in the room that is threatening it. As it says, intruder, kill intruder, protect. As it is gonna slam at you, Bear Drills.
No.
Slam!
Oh
Almost
my
got
gosh.
that natural 20.
that was
That was scary.
24.
Yeah, that hits me a little bit.
Hits
Just
your
a
case.
smidge.
You sure it doesn't miss?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Look at that there, Bear Drills.
Man, what
Holy.
That's 11
Is that
points of damage.
are those both 2-digit numbers? What even are those?
Oh my
There goes
God.
all my stamina.
I want to be a robot.
Actually, no, I did math wrong. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Hold up, I got it. Okay, there we go. I did math correctly this time. I forgot I kept going with my old stats. There we go, I fixed it.
All right. So, Moxie, you have just seen Bear Drills just get pummeled, the wind knocked out of him by the security robot that has sprung to life and seems to think that you are some kind of intruders to be defeated. What are you going to do?
Well, it's distracted now, so I'm just gonna hop around between everyone's legs. I'm gonna try to do a trick attack in I think it's stealth versus the 20 plus CR. Let me double check. So I have to roll a stealth check.
Yeah, so what you need to do, you're trying to do a trick attack, so you need to roll your stealth check with the CR, with the DC of 20, and then if that is successful, you will do extra damage if you hit.
All right, stealth. Here it is. Stealth.
Oh no!
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the fail train, population, you guys.
Oh,
So that doesn't mean that you still can't hit. That just means you won't do extra damage.
that's fair. I try to hit.
That's it.
one.
See, if you try to do
Alright.
more than one thing,
Yep, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Am I flanking? Is flanking?
I don't think it'll help you.
It won't,
It
no,
would-
no, probably not.
Yeah.
All right, I
I'm
attack
sorry-
to hit.
Yeah,
let's not kid ourselves. Nothing's going to help any of us.
That's a
So
14.
That is unfortunately just gonna miss.
even with the flank. Now that I bring it back up.
So there is nobody actually flanking with Moxie.
Are you sure? Because I'm like across the thing.
Oh well, yeah. We'll say that. So that will actually hit.
Yay!
Yay! 4 points of
Twat.
damage. as your baton just smacks into the plating of that robot there. And anything else?
That's all I can do because that was a full round action to try a trick attack.
Indeed, Tehwas is up to you.
Oh, I hope it's not up to me, but I can contribute. So Tehwas is going to use a move action to pull out her syringe stick, which normally she jabs into biological targets, but you know what? She can use it to just start prying off some of the protective plates on this drone and maybe shut it down. So she's going to make an attack, just the one attack, and we'll hope for the best.
All right, go for it.
Okay, well, I was about to say, I thought you rolled a 2, and I was about to say, you know, every time we say ho, bad things happen, right?
I normally do, but I get a 22 to hit KAC.
Yeah, and
right.
that absolutely
Tehwas, you are
Tehwas.
off team.
And that is in fact the wrong damage die. So let me just roll that manually.
Yep, no problem.
All right, 3 points of piercing damage.
3 points of piercing damage. All right, so you're biting right into the plating of that robot as you just hear like noise as its internal mechanisms are starting to clank a little bit, but it doesn't seem too terribly injured after that, and it is now it's now the Litigator's turn. Litigator, you see the camera is focusing on Tehwas' granny is shouting, yeah, pump it up for the crowd, say something cool, Tehwas.
Okay, fine. Doesn't matter. Okay.
What are you gonna do now that Tehwas has stolen the show? Are you gonna try to get some of that glory back for the camera?
Yes, I will make a second attempt to do what I did a moment ago with the jolting surge.
Excellent.
And let's see, that is, am I flanking now?
Indeed you are.
All right, let's see if I can pull it off this time. Spoiler, probably not.
Very good call on the spoilers.
You know, I'm kind of getting good at predicting this, unlike I am at my ability to do anything else. So yeah, I will attempt and flail miserably again to hit the giant metal robot that's standing right in front of me, and then I will try and play it off like I was just pointing behind the robot.
Like you were just pointing behind the robot. Why don't you make me a bluff check while you do that? So you're trying to play it off as if you were just taunting.
Yeah, that's seems plausible.
All right, so for in a stroke of luck, the camera has captured you taunting the robot and did not catch that very embarrassing miss on the attack there. As Granny is like, well, if you can't hit him, you might as well at least make it look cool. And she hits the button, and you can hear ping, 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 ping. Well, people are impressed at it looks like you taunting this thing. So you're gonna get a +2 on your next attack roll. Litigator, for getting those donations.
The tiny endorphin rush of not entirely failed.
Anything else for your turn?
Nope, that was my entire turn.
Bear drills, bear drills, bear drills.
It is now my turn. I'm gonna have to manually roll this because I think I messed some stuff up. But everyone knows what's gonna happen now. I'm gonna put 1 entropy point, basically swish right into my powerful fist, and I shall strike. With flanking and everything else, that is going to be a 21 plus with the flanking. That is going to smash right into it. And then additionally, that is going to be 1d3 plus 3 damage, which will be a fun number that I can't roll. So roll 1d3. So do that, and then that will be plus 3 damage if that even rolled. There we go.
Oh, there it goes. All right.
3,
so
4,
that's 5 points of damage.
It's 5 points of damage plus, that's the damage for just the normal strike, plus I think another 1d3, correct? Because of the entropic strike additional thing.
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. So roll 1d3 again, and bam! It is, come on, roll 20, I believe in you, another 3! So pretty much, yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage total, just boom!
All right. So you crash your fist down. Were you jumping and punching down, or what were you doing there?
No, just pretty much just slamming straight up for it. So basically with my huge fist pretty much bashing into and the power going forward. A moment it just kind of like lurches back a little bit, and it's basically kind of coming back, kind of giving Moxie a bit of an opening as hopefully it got staggered a little bit.
All right, so the power of entropy envelops your fist as you connect heartily with the plating that's around that robot, and you stop it in its tracks as it's lurching towards you, and you shout out your Bear Drills slogan, and Mama Martha and Granny P are skittering their way over to the side of the theater to get the camera right up on you to get a nice up angle while you just roar in rage at this robot. And you can hear her being like, yeah, keep it up, the crowd is eating this up.
Yeah, my shield is still also pointed to the drone.
Okay.
Like cool.
So after you do that, the doctor here is going to be shifting her way back into the room, not terribly as surprised as you might expect, but clearly pretty afraid of what's going on, as you see her just being like, and now, hold on, I might be able to do something with this thing, as she beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, the little pad that's in her hands, and she says, I should be able to control it from this pad. And you see that the bot is actually going to become staggered as she is putting in a bunch of conflicting commands, trying to regain control of this thing.
Oh, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be, I bet I can fix things here. Let me shut it down. And it just sprouts like bazookas.
And no.
That could still happen. Just give it
That
time.
could still happen. I mean,
Start
she was
pressing
very...
buttons and it starts pressing buttons all of a sudden. It's just like self-destruct sequence of building triggered in 5, 4, and just flaring red lights.
That's right. She was very clear that she doesn't actually really know what she's doing with this thing. So while this round she has staggered it, who knows what she might be able to do next rounds. So anyway, all it's going to do is just shift up here and not going to be able to do anything else. Moxie, you've got the robot right in front of you, and it looks like it's having some issues, having some functionality issues. What are you going to do?
I see that. Is this a sink?
Yep, that's a sink there for various medical purposes and washing hands and all of that.
Is it filled currently or is it empty?
It's got a little bit of water in it.
All right. What I want to do, just have a little fun. I'm gonna try trick attack again. I'm gonna take my full speed. I'm gonna climb up on the wall, and just run up, splash back down, and then smack it. Like I'm sitting in this thing, I'm just gonna hit it with the baton as I'm falling back down.
Okay.
I thought you were about to take the robot and like dunk its like robot head in water. Like, here it is, number 2 wet for, and
I wish.
Give him a robot swirly.
Yep.
Okay, so make your stealth check for your trick attack first.
Yes. Actually, I can use acrobatics technically. I feel like this is more of an
Yes, you
acrobatics
can.
trick.
Yes, you can.
So I will attempt to do that. Nice. 27.
Yeah.
To trick this wily robot that's staggered.
Awesome. So if you make your attack successfully, you will do extra damage.
Yes, we will attempt to do that attack successfully. Keyword attempt.
You got this.
Yes.
You can do it. We believe in you.
Believe in me who believes in myself. Well, it's flat-footed.
Oh, that was almost really cool.
Do I have flanking?
You do have flanking, indeed.
And it's flat-footed, so would that do anything?
I mean, the same thing as the flanking does.
Oh,
It's the exact
no.
same. Yep.
I use my hero point.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
Oh, don't do it! Don't do it!
Don't
We
do
know
it.
what that
You'll
means.
die. You'll explode.
I will explode, but I'll go out cool.
No, you won't.
Oh, why didn't
Oh,
you listen
no.
to countless previous examples?
Oh no.
You must realize you are forever cursed. You'll never roll above a 10.
I'm
This
just
is the
sitting in the
problem.
sink.
We keep on getting hero points, but none of us are heroes.
So instead of hitting the robot, I hit the sink. So I just start like tapping at it. And it's like, over here, you dumb bot.
You just hit the seat, you hit the sink, and you just hit your knee on it, and you just hear this like boing sound as there's vibrations going from. Unfortunately, all of your force that you would have used to hit the robot is transferred into the sink, and now you're basically a mouse-shaped bell clapper that's wandering back and forth between between the sink there. So
petition to call hero points fumble points.
Yeah, we should. I don't need to use my villain points. You guys and the
Daeve, they're all villain points at this point.
Feed, that's right, chat. Feed me for when they fail, and I want them to fail even worse.
The real damage here is to my pride.
I think the real damage is to everyone's pride. Poor Moxie. You'll get it next time. Tehwas, it's your turn.
All right. Well, just as a heads up, Metal Victini from our chat said that we should rename them heal points and face points. That might actually do something for us.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
I'm going to drop my syringe. I'm going to, seeing as we are facing a totally not wrestler opponent, I might as well level a gun at it. So I will pull out my Costalance and just fire a spray of acid into this thing. I'm sure that won't get in the way of our lovely Yusoki, who's trying to hit it with a stick. So we'll see how this goes with an attack. Yeah, that seems relatively convincing. So that's going to be 15 against EAC.
15 against EAC. Where are you standing? Right here, Tehwas. Right there. Oh, that's. Oh, are you even adjacent to it?
It's a gun.
Oh, it's a gun. You're using a gun. Okay. So 15 against. That is just gonna hit.
All right, that's going to be 4 points of acid damage, and with pulling out my weapon, that's my whole turn.
All right, sounds good. So that little acid dart just seeps into the electronics of the robot there, as you just hear the sizzling sound of that robot being affected by that attack. Litigator, are you gonna let them get all the glory? Come on, we gotta be able to sell some merchandise. If we don't drop you entirely, come on, boy, do something.
So deep somewhere in Dave's subconscious flashes back to a scene of him as a small child being trained in the art of wrestling by his grandmother, which is mostly just her slapping him around and then making fun of him for crying.
Oh no.
And he thinks to himself, just like Grandma used to tell me, if you don't succeed on the first attempt, then keep trying until you pass out. And then he steps forward and attempts to, in a single motion, jam the robot's head down into the sink full of water and electrify it.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. Did I get a bonus for my from last time for my attempt to pass off the failure as less of a failure? Okay.
Yep. It was a +2.
+2. All right. Here we go. Well, it is what it is.
That's a 6 total with your bonuses.
Yes, with all of my bonuses, it is a grand total of less than I rolled on my last attempt.
Oh my gosh!
And you don't have any hero points, do you?
No, but I think we're probably better off that way because I could have rolled a 1. And if I had a hero point, I almost certainly would.
That's true. So the robot is thrashing around and is slippery, and there's water that's splashing everywhere, and it's dirty water because it's stagnant and it's been sitting in there for a while, and you are not able to push it down there or to electrify it. But however, to your surprise, you've got Granny P back there over by the doors, who is moving the camera around very dramatically and saying, "This looks great on camera, boy. This looks great. As long as you just keep from dying, then we should be pretty good here. I'm seeing some donations come in. Keep it up."
I mean, we're getting those sweet, sweet pity donations now, so.
Cord, bring it home. Make it look like the boys' incompetence is actually success.
It is time for the master plan. It is time to drill to the earth. Cosmic Bear Smash! And I basically Tropic Strike again. it's all the same. And it's a nat 1. I'm just gonna take my headset off. I'm gonna put it on the table, and you guys can do the stream. I'll just go over here. There's no reason to keep playing anymore. All and roll 20 dice, just give me ones!
You guys, I think we lost Peyton. In fact, I think you lost Peyton, and you're all about to die.
So Bear Drills' paw is stuck in the drywall. What are the rest of us going to do?
So I don't know what the rest of you are gonna do, but it is now this medical robot's turn, and before the robot can go, you've got the doctor who's back here, and she's desperately trying to boop on buttons. And
no.
Oh, what she's gonna do is that robot is again like it's whirring and staying in place, and you're seeing that it looks like it's not moving as deliberately or as purposefully as it was before, but that's because there's a plate that opens and it's at the bottom of its torso, and what falls out is a spherical object that goes tink, 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 and explodes, and I am gonna need reflex saves from Bear Drills and the Litigator as a frag grenade has dropped at your feet, you guys.
I got a 3.
Oh,
Would that
cool,
also
cool.
need to roll a save because I'm right beside it?
Let's see, actually it's a 15-foot radius, so that's gonna be Tehwas and Moxie as well, so all of you guys.
Oh, gosh.
Reflex. I'm decent at that, but we'll see as I roll a 18.
All right, so the number you're looking for is 16, which means that everybody except for Moxie is gonna take all this damage, and Moxie, you will take half.
Can I take none of that
So-
damage?
You'll take 1 point, Moxie, and you guys, the rest of you will take 3.
Do
Ouchies.
numbers go up to 16 now?
I instead suffer no effect because of evasion, I believe.
All right.
Yes.
Sounds correct. Okay, so the bot can't do anything else, but it did just drop that bomb literally at your feet, Moxie. What are you gonna do about it?
Can I just flavor it? I was in the sink and I just took cover. That's why it didn't hit me. Not that I dodged, but the
You
sink
just
took
ducked under there, and now
Yes.
you're peeking out like Yosemite Sam.
All right. Can't. Come on, fellas. We gotta do our second wind. Now's the time to show everyone we're the real heroes here. One more time, trick
There are
attack.
no heroes here. There are only ones.
Tell us.
All right, I'm gonna try to do another trick attack. This time, since I'm already in the sink hiding from the frag grenade, I'm gonna do a stealth trick attack instead.
Sure,
As I
sounds good.
Try to pop out.
Let's see if this robot sees that coming.
Yep, it does probably.
I mean, you guys still take a total of 16.
That's unfortunately not enough. While it is close, it is not enough, but you can still do your normal attack.
Yes, I will smack at it. Right beside. Surprise!
Oh, yeah, that hits, Moxie.
2 damage.
You still do 2 points of damage.
Just reach out of the sink and boop it, and then go back in. That's all
As
I do.
there are a couple of little sparks that fly off of that security robot, and you hear that it's trying to repeat its programming a little bit, but it just kind of sounds like coming out garbled, almost as if its internet cut off while it was trying to live play a stream on the on the web. Tehwas, your turn.
The interview's over. Tehwas will move over to here while firing backwards with her rifle, hoping to hit a robot. Which, you know, if she misses, it's just Bear Drills on the other side. So I'm sure that'll do.
It's fine.
Yeah, I know. Like, we're professionals. We always hit with our attacks, right? Right? Good.
Hey, I
That's
got
a-
19 on the die.
that's a 23 EAC.
Yeah, that's
Those
gonna
do
hit
exist.
Tehwas.
Yes, that's 7 points of acid damage because apparently proclaiming cowardice is the only way that we can actually succeed here.
It's the second win, I'm telling you. We can do this.
All right. So that acid just penetrates into the outer plating of that robot as you just hear Litigator. It's your turn.
Well, I'm completely out of spells, so I will pull out my gun and just blast it at point blank range. The gun, by the way, as you might notice, is now a brand spanking new hand coil,
All right.
which I purchased with some of my winnings from last week.
Yeah. So Litigator, you're gonna want to shift back if you do that.
Yes, that's a 5-foot step back,
Yep,
and
you're gonna
then
wanna guard it up.
blast it.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Oh, unfortunately, that is not going to be quite enough to hit it.
Did I hit the sink?
Yeah, it's gonna bounce off the sink.
Okay, well, I hit something.
I've noticed something that anytime Litigator does something, Amanda's response always starts with "unfortunately."
Yeah. Or oh.
Listen, I'm not Granny P. I'm not cruel when I announce that there is a missed attack. That's up to her to taunt him, not me. Yeah, boy, that's right. Can't you do anything?
It's not a missed attack. It's only a missed opportunity.
Womp womp.
Yeah, it's the director's commentary from Granny version videos that I don't look forward to.
Oh, you know she's just gonna have a biting commentary for you. Cord, it is now your turn to try to smash this thing.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna click this button.
Believe in you, big guy.
And then it's gonna say that is a 13 I am flanking.
That is one off what you wanted, unfortunately.
Even though Entropic Strike goes
all by myself. Why?
Sorry, what was that, John?
Even though Entropic Strike goes against EAC?
Yes. Yeah, it's one off.
Oh.
I used my move action to be sad.
To be sad. Aww. So are you just kind of hunched over, with your paws on your face?
Yeah, that's just... I just go to the point like, you win, robot. I can't hit you. You're a far superior wrestler than I am.
All right, so the doctor is again still furiously booping away at that pad that is in her hands. And she's like, I know I can turn this thing off somehow. Just give me a second. As the bot does not seem to actually be affected, and he's going to step up. And Litigator, I think that he's going to go ahead and smash at you.
I will quickly shift into an alternate reality where it's a slightly worse shot, thereby imposing a -2 penalty on its attack.
Okay, I need to roll that again because that is the wrong modifier.
That's scary. Oh.
Does a 25 still hit you, Litigator?
Yes, multiple times over.
Okay.
So I should have gone with a different dimension, I guess. I accidentally picked the dimension where it's a much better shot.
You went into the dimension of ow, unfortunately. The dimension of smack. All right, so let's see. 10 points of damage against your stamina there, Litigator.
Oh, cool. That's all of it.
Moxie, the good news is that the bot is not paying any attention to you, so you might be able to get some sort of shot in there. What do you want to do?
All right. Trying to think if there's something else I can do. I just want to. I don't want my at least these allies to die yet. We haven't even gone to the match. You can't die now. All right. Since its back is turned to me, I'm gonna try to trick attack it one more time.
Okay.
This time I'm gonna crawl out of the sink. Maybe that'll help. Stealthily. 17.
17. That is going to hit.
Well, that's for my trick attack.
Oh, that's for yourself. Oh, so that's not quite good enough, unfortunately. Sorry.
All right. I will. Then I'll try to baton it as best as I could. 16.
16 again. So that's KAC, yeah? Yep. Okay, so that's gonna hit. So why don't you roll some... Oh, you rolled 4 damage?
4 damage.
All right. 4 points of damage while you smash up that robot that's in front of you. And now Tehwas, is up to you as you have dove behind those doors.
Oh gosh, one of my plans was to do an area-based thing that will totally not work without destroying most of my party. So, under other circumstances, I'd totally go for that, but it seems the robot does not need the help.
We've already been ended. You can't do any worse.
Virtually, we've been ended. Physically, we're still here.
Yeah. So I will see about taking... You know what? I'll shoot twice. That's the sort of thing I'm going to do. So let's take shot number 1, which is going to do that. That was a mistake. And shot number 2.
That looks better, but
Does a 16 hit EAC?
Does a 16 hit EAC? Yes, it does.
All right, that's 4 points of acid damage as I just keep on firing into the room. And I'm sorry about that first miss. That might have grazed you there, Bear.
Oh, it's fine. But does
His sadness blocks it.
Yeah.
All right.
My sadness of never being able to hit a simple standing robot who's right in front of me.
You and everybody else in the party.
Yep. And Lori in chat makes a good point that that robot should have taken an attack of opportunity, but it did not. So we are just going to move on.
The robot just feels bad for us. Pulling punches.
Well, you know, the robot is being mucked with in his internal command, so maybe the good old doctor there was able to avoid something for you guys.
The medical programming is kicking in. It's now able to feel pity.
We keep on assuming that once robots have emotions that they're going to be angry at us for teasing them, but really they're just feeling pity.
That's right, Litigator. How much pity are you going to have it feel for you?
Speaking of feeling pity, I am going to, well, since this is what I've been reduced to, I'm going to back away another 5 feet while blasting wildly at it with my gun. See what happens with this.
Right. Oh.
Yep.
Oh. Your drills are gonna have to duck because that shot just went right toward your face. Fink. Bear drills. It's now your turn, Bear Drills.
Okay. let's try this again, everyone. Roll a d20. It's a natural 1.
Yep.
Suck.
I'm just.
All right. Okay.
I'll just remove my token.
This is who we are now. Let's just own it. Destroy all the footage, and it never happened.
We never came here. Nothing showed up. We just arrived. We shook hands, said, "How did you do?" and left with like missing limbs. Now, I aim the shield to the robot. I huddle under it, and I sob.
And you hear Granny P just yelling from the background. Yeah, really selling, getting beat up by this bot. Keep it up. The viewers are loving it. They love to see you get your butt whipped.
I shed an additional tear at Grandma trying to compensate for our failures.
Grandma, find out if we can find out who built this robot and see if we can sell them the footage for advertising.
I'll get right on that. But you know, I might need some time because if I need to scrape your bleeding face off of the floor here, it's gonna take a little bit of while. So you're gonna have to bear with me.
No, I'm just saying it might be valuable to the company that makes these things to have some footage of it wiping the floor with 4 of us.
You do have a point. I do like your business mind, boy. You know, there is some hope for you yet. That is, if you don't completely succumb to this fight here. And you've got the doctor in the corner.
It's a real big if.
We should get an entire army of these to go attack the swarm at some point, because I think we should just make an entire army of this one robot. It'll be able to attack the swarm all by itself.
Let's not kid ourselves. It's not the robot.
This is the reason we're just wrestlers, guys.
All right, so you've got the doctor who's back there in the corner, still just boop, 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 boop. I swear I can fix this. I can do it. And you hear all of a sudden the robot is starting to emit a beep, beep.
Oh, not
beep,
again.
Beep, beep. And why don't we have Moxie and Bear Drills make a reflex save as you see glowing interiors into the mechanisms of this robot.
There's my natural 20 that I needed 5 years ago.
I also got a 21 total.
So both of you are only going to take half of this damage.
No damage.
I got good news and no. That's right, no damage for you. Bear Drills, you're going to take 4 points of damage. As I have good news and bad news. The good news is the robot has been so overloaded that the doctor is able to make it explode. The bad news is that it actually exploded, and you've got shrapnel in your bare face.
Oh, oh! Just trying to get the shards out.
As you're just screaming.
There's no better.
I got robot in my wounds. Oh. I'm just trying to
better place than
Maybe the doctor can help you with that.
The doctor.
Get the shards out of my face.
She's gonna look at you and she'll be like, you will be okay. I will be able to get this out. I've seen much worse. You would never guess the places that I've pulled glass out of from some of these idiots who end up wrestling each other. They think that it's cool to roll around in the bed of the broken glass and the tacks and the nails. It's always, I did this to myself. I know what they're doing. They're just being stupid. And she's picking out all of these pieces.
Oh, so I can imagine.
Where did you get these robots from?
They were sent to us. You would have to ask Jory Poston exactly where they came from, but he ordered them and they show up, and I'm told to fix them so that they will be of use during the match. And well, you see exactly how well that went down.
You know, all the injuries suffered really help when we try to go undercover with the Chu.
That's a silver lining.
And Granny P is back there as she managed to capture that dramatic explosion of the robots and all of you turning around, and Bear Drill's just taking all that shrapnel in his face and roaring his mighty roar that the crowds are also used to. And she's like, you might have gotten hurt, but the crowd's loving it.
I have learned that
ping, 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 ping.
Trust no robots we ever encounter anywhere.
Oh yeah, Litigator. I just remembered. Here's some injury claims I found. Maybe you can make use of it. Anyways, job well done. We beat up that robot. Good job, everyone.
We better destroy the other 2 medical bots just to be safe.
You don't want to touch the robots. They'll all come to life, and we'll be here for another 5 hours trying to hit one.
So, you are all talking about potentially, getting rid of these robots that might cause problems, and you see Granny P and Mama Martha back there as they're like, hey, didn't they have some grenades and some kind of contraption there at the bottom? Why don't you, if you really want to explode them, we could get a real good looking video for the crowd of you getting rid of these threats, these malfunctioning bots if you wanted to.
Not in the lab.
And are all of them dead? Like, just all of them are bad, shooty, explodey robots and not actual medicine robots?
Well, they were supposed to be medicine robots. They were supposed to be helpful, and I think it's only this one. This one seems to have some sort of programming from before it came to us. These other ones, well, and she walks up to them and she taps them on the heads or where their heads would be on their forms, and she says, I don't think that these ones are about to try to attack us. I think they're all right.
Well, we can crack them open just to be sure that there aren't inside. Because sometimes the only prescription is death.
So if you want, you can set up a little sort of like firing line and explode those with the grenades if you want, or you can move on, or you can keep asking her questions, whatever you guys want to do.
I mean, I'm sticking with my original plan of try to fix up some medbots and possibly program them to take footage. That way we can spy on our good doctor here and make sure that she's not up to anything weird either.
Can you use one of them to spy, and then I will shamelessly rig the grenade in the other one and then try to shoot it at that exact moment so it looks like I'm blowing it up for the camera?
You're just itching to do damage to something, aren't you?
Something other than the sink? Yes.
Something other than
Great.
yourself.
Other than his pride?
And myself. I did hurt myself earlier.
That's true. You did purposefully hurt yourself earlier. All right, guys, so what's the plan?
I did technically find something else out. I'm not sure if it's too new, but if we're in a huddle, I'll mention the Chu Crew, about how the wrestler moves that they were practicing seem to be more than just amateurs and like amateurish. It's more stuff like professionals would do, and very dangerous. Very, very weird for fans to be doing stuff like that. So I think they'd be our next lead to at least look into, even if they don't like, even if they're not good for the camera, like Jory said.
Yeah, I definitely consider the Chu Crew to be a potential future clients, if nothing else. We should probably go there next.
I'm not sure you want them to be clients. They might not live to pay off the tab.
Very few of my clients do.
I'd be up for checking them out.
All
All
right.
right.
Okay, so before the doctor starts actually coming up with how much we owe her for completely and utterly destroying her lab, let's make an excuse that we must speak to Chu Crew as quickly as possible and leave the room.
And she will shout after you as she overhears you discussing that with your friends. Oh, don't worry, I will send the bill to X.T.R.E.M. They will pay for all of your shenanigans. I'm sure that they will, and they won't just leave me with a destroyed lab. And she starts ranting about, again, her lab has been completely destroyed by these wrestling fools.
You're the kiddo. You're welcome.
You're gonna look into the camera and just be like, you're welcome.
Wait a minute, I'm not the legal department for the Extreme League, am I?
I hope not.
You
might
are
be
now.
The closest thing. You might be the closest thing. All right, so because you guys, you had a decent layout of this. You definitely have a schematic of the whole building, so you know that the Chu Crew's living quarters are all down here in the corner of the map. But you also know that the individual rooms are locked. So if you're going to try to investigate the individual rooms, you might want to try to go through this kind of lounge area so that it's a little less obvious what you're doing.
Right, where? Where should we go?
So you can go wherever you want, but if you are wanting to go around and make it less obvious that you're trying to break into people's rooms, you can go this way, and then down here there's like a living room area that leads to a hallway that then enters
The right side. Yeah.
Do I spot any ventilations in the wall? Any sort of openings, stuff like that?
Well, would you like to make a computers check to see if you can get to the various different types of electrical schematics on this? Because right now all you have is the map.
All right. Computers, I'm not good at that, but I can try.
Ooh.
We have someone who's good at computers. Ask that thing.
I can see electricity for whatever that's worth. It's not worth anything.
Yeah, you're having
That's
trouble. You're having trouble sorting through all of the various different digital official pieces of documentation about this facility. You really can only accurately read the current map, but it sounded like maybe Tehwas wanted to give it a shot.
Oh, Moxie, you have safe search on, please.
What does that
We
mean?
need to break. Well, it means that you can't actually access anything worthwhile. What are you trying to find out now?
I'm trying to find out if there's any sort of small openings, any place I can crawl through, the like.
You tried looking up? Oh
I
my
looked
gosh.
up.
I don't even know what to do with it. Here, I'll look for a map. Oh my goodness.
The reason Safe Search blocks electrical schematics is robot children.
Yes.
Sorry.
Robot children. All right, so Tehwas, with that 18, you are getting a few pings off of your various searches, and you're digging through that. This was indeed a facility that's been used for many different purposes. It's only very recently been converted into a staff facility. There is what looked like on the initial map just a closet, and it is down here to the south. In the corner of the building. It looks like on the map that it's a closet, but that there is actually some kind of like underground bunker or storage or something. There's something underneath there that's not part of the main access to the primary building, but that it does exist.
Well, I don't know.
An underground bunker for us to bury ourselves forever, to hide our to investigate.
Well, I don't know if it's exactly what you were looking for, Moxie, but there is a set of stairs going down. Were you looking to cram yourself into some sort of ventilation shaft or something?
What if? But I mean, I feel as though this is a better lead, right? Or are we just... Because we at first we wanted to confront the Chu Crew, but this is a bit more interesting that there's actually something that's not on our maps.
Very least, we could get some footage of you climbing into an air duct, then splice it in with something later that makes it look like it was relevant. Why not?
Well, looking at the map, it seems as though we're going to have to make a bit of a circuit past the Chu Crew before we can even access that. So perhaps we talk to them on the way, and if you need to slip away, then that's your business.
Fair enough. Can do right there. We just stomp right in. This sounds about right. Okay.
So I'm thinking, it looks like I'm kind of moving my token in the way that it would go. It looks like we have to kind of do a clockwise circuit to even get to that.
The alternate would be to go outside, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do we want to go through it, or do we want to go outside? I'm small. I can hide either way. This is more for your benefit, not mine.
Why? When did this become why are we hiding? Wasn't our cover that we were going around talking to as many people as possible?
Well, if I have to sneak away...
I'm sure that in the spirit of the true
dumping.
documentary, we've raised like a hunter's blind, and we're just filming people without them noticing.
Yeah, don't worry. Come on, Litigator, and I burst through the doors and begin walking through.
Yeah, you're just showing off now. Just demonstrating your ability to burst through doors.
Burst through other doors. I assume they're unlocked.
Yeah, they're all unlocked.
It's fun to assume things, isn't it?
Yes.
I just want to hide behind Beardrill's legs as he's moving around, like, because I'm small enough that I'm probably just kind of flitting between his legs, trying to keep myself out of sight.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you guys are going the least trafficked route to, was it get to that closet that was actually a bunker? Is that what you're trying to do? Or are you also looking to run into the Chu Crew?
Well, run into the Chu Crew.
Yeah, I thought our primary objective was to find the Chu Crew, but
all right.
Should that take us past the secret bunker?
Sure. So you
not
guys
investigate that.
Sure. So you guys walk into this open sort of group area that is the lounge area for the crew quarters. And as soon as you walk in there, you see you come across what is kind of a sight. There is a tall, furred person with a wolf-like snout who is arm locked around another creature with a cat-like head. You recognize that as the Vlaka and a Patra, respectively. And there is another really large, sort of like boxy rock-like kind of person who's around, and it looks like that they are engaging in some kind of like fake wrestling, and that the rock-like person is pretending to be the referee, and they are not paying attention to you at all as you just hear like coming off of the Vlaka and just off the Patras. They're snarling at each other and wrestling around and trying to throw each other, and clearly a very unskilled type of way, but they're being pretty violent when you walk in.
If it looks unskilled to us, then it's got to be pretty bad.
It's to the point. It was like, are you two the what was it again? The chewers?
And they stop as they crane their heads quickly. They look at you, kind of like that surprised gopher in the memes online, as it's like, and they turn around and look at you in the eyes, Bear Drill specifically, and they're like, the Vlaka is the one who's talking, and she says, Chu Crew, I think that you're talking about the Chu Crew, and if you're looking for the best lighters on this side of the Pact Worlds and all of your wrestling needs, then that's us, baby, and one day we're gonna be the ones with our names up in lights, but until then, we practice. As
they're talking, I turn to, like, is Tehwas hidden at this moment, or?
Not really, no.
Okay, I turn to Tehwas like, all right, that's the ones. Yeah, they're good enough for the documentary. Start filming.
Fair enough. I point the drone toward them.
So you point the drone toward them, and they're like, make sure you get this. You're going to make us famous, as they're like wrestling each other around, and they're all of a sudden the Vlaka there, you don't know their names yet, it starts to like overpower the Patra and starts to flip her kind of over onto her side on her back, right in front of you, Bear Drills. And what are you guys gonna do while all of this is going on? Are you joining in? Are you trying to talk to them, get information? What's the plan?
I'm gonna grab
I have a plan.
That's as you plan for your plan. I'm gonna grab one of the chairs at nearby desks, sit down in it, take out my small little reading glasses and like my little piece of paper that I kind of prepare with some like terribly written questions, and go. We're doing a documentary, by the way, and as much as I'm impressed by your that I'm going to basically begin asking you questions. Is that fine?
What kind of questions would you have to ask? Why don't you just watch and learn? As they're trying to flip each other around, and the Patra gets thrown onto her back, and the Vlaka jumps on and starts trying to hold her knee up as the Trox there just starts going 1, 2, and the Patra kicks out as they continue to grapple and wrestle each other. And for those of you who are trying to convince them to stop doing this, I'm gonna need some sort of more like a diplomacy or a bluff or an intimidate or somebody who tries to get their attention.
I'm not trying to stop them at all. They're able to answer questions and wrestle at the same time.
Okay, so since they're really not giving the esteemed Bear Drills professional interviewer the time of day, I'm going to drive home the point that, look, if you never want to have your professional career take off, of course you can ignore the media. Or do you just want to die completely unloved and never recognized by the Pact Worlds for your apparent talents? If that's the case, then I guess we can just leave. I'm going to use Intimidate.
Okay.
So if there's one thing that I've learned through my long career of both law and wrestling, it's that practicing is for losers. It's not going to get you anywhere.
There's a 14 on the die with your... negative
yeah,
one?
I should be adding a total of 3 now because I put a point into Intimidate.
Yeah.
So that should be a 17.
And can I assist him?
You can, and remember, those of you, I believe it was Bear Drills and Moxie, you guys both got bonuses to charisma-based checks.
I know.
Can I also attempt to assist him?
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the things I have to do is mainly roll things. And my thing is a +5. Actually, I think my thing is actually correct this time. Maybe. Let's see if it works. That's 7 + 5.
All right,
7 plus 5. All right, so that's
about 12.
All right, so who was doing the primary check? I think that was you, Tehwas, right?
That seems about right. So far I've gotten 2 aids. So it seems like I have a 21 total.
Yeah, so with that total 21, all of a sudden, all of you are just kind of shouting and, telling them to take things seriously and that, this is their big break. And it takes a few minutes, but after a couple of seconds again, they kind of stop and they look up at you and the Vlaka just kind of goes, hmm? And the Patra looks at you and just kind of goes, hmm? And the Trox kind of rocks back on his heels as they're like, make us famous, you say? It sounds like you more want to kick our butts.
Oh, no, it's fine. We can wait. Unless, of course, you were preferring some form of combat interview. I understand the esteemed and entirely...
No, don't.
Daeve is frantically shaking his head behind your back, but...
but I could have gotten them wrestling Daeve, and whoever wins gets to ask the questions. So it really would be. I was actually going to get ready to set up Bear Drills to be the combat interviewer, seeing as he seems to have all the questions.
I adjust my glasses.
Are you prepared to answer the famous documentary maker Bear Drills' questions? I mean, just think of the viewership.
Are there any lenses the frames of the glasses put on?
It's prescription. Everything. I had
Wait,
a
really?
little case. I had a little case and everything.
So you'd need those to see? This is
Yeah,
the first time we've ever
Yep.
seen you wear them?
Yep,
Okay.
that's,
What we're
I
saying
needed
is
them to
he's
see
never
the
been able to-
entire time. That's why I was rolling. So.
Yep, that explains a lot.
So while you were all saying that, the Vlaka is gonna turn around and say, combat interview sounds great. I think that's what we'd want to pick. And then all of a sudden, the Patra turns and looks at her and says, Vi, don't you remember what happened last time we did a combat interview? Don't you remember what Dr. Mervin said, that we would get another pole through another one of our chests? Why don't you just answer their questions, okay? They sound like they're serious. And that one has glasses. I think he's really famous. I think we really need to make sure to pay attention to this. As they calm down and look at you, and the Vlaka who the Patra called Johnny looks at you, Bear Drills, and says, well, what is it that you want to know? I mean, we're really just the lighting crew.
Well, I just in general, just wanting to know how everything's going with your side of things. The first question here is, who is your favorite wrestler out of all the wrestlers that you know?
Well, isn't that going to be obvious? That's the Undersnaker, the great Undersnaker, and his sister Jane. That's the whole reason we're on this crew. We're basically... Gets real quiet and her voice kind of drops. We're basically groupies, okay? We just want to be as good someday, just half as good someday as the Undersnaker was when they were just a wee little kid. And her sister Jane is just, well, look, we just want to be like them, okay? They're really cool.
Well, I'm glad that you like them so much. But do you think anybody else inside of your team, or even in this building, might have a different favorite than you?
Oh, well, that's a real good question. Everybody here really kind of likes wrestling. But you know, I think there's somebody around here who does have some kind of fandom that they're maybe not proud of. It might be somebody who is clearly not as good a wrestler as the Undersnaker or as Jane. I don't necessarily know who it is, but I keep hearing somebody practicing moves or something down in that closet. And it sounds hilarious. It sounds like, I don't know, giggling or shrieking and all sorts of just noises coming from that closet. But I never could get a glimpse of the face of the person when they're coming in and out. And, you know, it's pretty obvious when there's eavesdropping going on. And, well, I don't want to take another pole through the chest, if you know what I mean.
Well, I nod over to Tehwas, hoping he picks up on the cue to go check it out. And then I'll just continue to just kind of, in the background, interview them. It's like, what's your favorite drink? How's it like working here? What kind of are you treated well here? Are you happy here? And like, just bull garbage documentary questions.
What's your favorite thing to chew on?
Oh, that would be anything with electricity running through it. You know, it's kind of like rolling a die. Sometimes you get a pleasant little spark, and sometimes you basically blow your face off, but it's always kind of worth it, except for when you blow your face off. Sometimes you have to go see the doctor, and she yells at you for being stupid and reckless, and, well, then you can't work for a while, and, well, you know what I'm saying.
This one's pretty fun. I kind of like her.
So is Tehwas slinking away to investigate the mysterious basement vault?
Yeah, that or you, Litigator. I kind of do like a head motion to like you guys in general going, hey, go check out the closet.
Yeah,
I'm for any opportunity to leave the room, so I think I will go.
I'll follow right after him.
So the Chu Crew is going to be answering your questions in just very, rudimentary 1 or 2 word answers. And they're clearly starting to twitch a little bit as they're kind of softly punching each other in the arm and being like, does that hurt? What about this? What about this? Oh, do you know what I want to do? I want to try one of them. I want to try one of them their pile driver moves. You want to try that again? We hadn't tried that again since the last time we had to go to the doctor. That sounds like fun. And they're starting to like get into a little bit of a scrap as they are getting distracted from what's happening.
Okay, I was like, all right, interview's over, and I continue down with the rest of the crew to go check out that closet.
Okay, so you guys are going to check out the closet, which is this one right here. Is anybody going forward and trying the door?
I will lead the way to the closet. As we all come down, file by file.
All right, so who is going inside and checking around?
I guess I will. I take out my shield and kind of
so
open up the door.
I think you're in front, and probably none of us can get past you. So yeah, it's all you.
I have to walk in sideways and scrunch down.
Yeah, so you just squeeze your way into this tiny little broom closet, and it's literally a broom closet. There's a single light bulb that has a chain hanging from it. You're gonna turn that on so you can get some light.
Yeah, I kind of go chink.
All right, so you turn that on, and you see, there is just a bunch of clutter everywhere. It's mostly like cleaning supplies, stuff that's stacked up on very precarious shelving. But there is a panel that looks like it is behind a shelf that only has like cloths and very light things on it that you could move aside and maybe try to open it if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, since I'm the only one that can fit in, I slowly try to open it.
Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be locked, and it looks like there's gonna there's a key, but you obviously don't know where the key is. You can maybe try to override it if you want.
Can I punch it really hard?
I feel like you can.
Go,
Here's your
punch
key.
it!
Smash.
The Drills is tired of waiting. Drill wants to go. Bam! That's a 11 plus 6 instead of what it says there. So that is a 17. Just boom. If I want to use the letter.
You actually dent that door in. So if you wanted to like pull it off with all of your might, you could. You could get Tehwas in there to try to mess with the lock. But if you take long enough, the door is closed. No one's going to stop you. You can pull that panel off and see that there are what looks like a very sterile sort of like hallway leading downwards.
Cool. I take the time to actually rip it off and I kind of motion it. We're like, all right, let's go. And then just go down the hallways.
Okay, the rest of you following?
I do.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys go through a hallway that's probably like 50 feet long, and you're making your way down there, and it feels like you're going downwards, even though it's just kind of a sloped hallway. It's not actually stairs, and you emerge yourselves into a very small little bunker-like room, which is consistent with what Moxie and Tehwas found in their check of the schematics of the area. And the really strange thing is that right above you, above the door where you've all entered, which is right there, there is a camera with a light that is initially green. But once all of you file into the room, the light actually turns red, and there is a very distinctive but subtle sound that goes "Wah!" as the doors drop down.
Really turn around like, oh no.
You're all trapped in this room. And I will tell you what you see in this room once I get your tokens in here. But yeah, what do y'all think about that?
It's not a good thing.
See about the door.
Okay.
Gotta see if I can, if there's a way to possibly disable the door.
Okay, so Tehwas, you're going to turn around and look at the door, but the scene that is before you all, Tehwas, that you probably don't necessarily notice right away, is the fact that this is not somebody's bedroom. This is some sort of like fan shrine to some kind of some sort of wrestler. And as you all look around, you see that propped up there on the bed is this mannequin that is like of a short humanoid, but that has been dressed in memorabilia and the costume, a replica costume of the Skulk. So there's a Vesk mask that's covering where the face would be. There's a bandana that's wrapped around that's got that skull logo imprinted on it. There's a black and white leotard set and tall white boots that are like an exact replica of what the Skulk wore in his heyday, and that there are all sorts of like little pieces of merchandise, like little dolls and things like that. That's all sort of set out very meticulously in this room.
Wow, you guys, we need to research what the Skulk did, because we need fans like this.
Yeah, they got way better digs than any of our apartments. I'm a bit jealous.
You're a bit jealous. So is anybody going to go up and examine that little shrine there that's on the bed?
Sure, have a look at it. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Why not go up and
Southwest.
poke the creepy mannequin? Go for it.
All right, so Moxie, as you were peering in there and using your paws to sort of like pick through and see exactly, how well put together this costume is, you hear just the very distinctive like click sound, and underneath the mannequin, what looked like was a pedestal was actually a box, and you see that the box is shifted over, and out pops this maniacal looking toy, almost like a jack-in-the-box, but it's got like sharp sort of blades and claws on either hand, and you just hear this laughter pop out as you are being faced down by this mechanized toy, and we will get to exactly what happens and whether our wrestlers are able to overcome this new threat on the next episode of Starfinder X.T.R.E.M.
Well, at least it's not a medical robot.
Yeah, at least it's not that. Like we would have had just horrific reactions. Going, oh no, not again, not again.
I
just
knew
run.
something was gonna happen, but I just had to. It's so weird and strange, and something had to be there.
It's so shiny and pretty,
Just
right,
so
Moxie?
cool.
It's black, and how much more black could it be?
Like the saying goes, when you're trapped in an underground room with a creepy mannequin, you gotta touch it.
It's kind of cute when it's not trying to claw my face off.
Well, you can take it home if you survive, and we find some way to get out of here, and you have some place to live.
Isn't it better to poke the mannequin and get attacked from the front rather than turn around and have it just disembowel you from behind?
Yes, if I were to die, I want it to face me. Not
From this
stab me
day
in the back.
forth, all of the things that we do that we know we shouldn't but are going to do anyway shall be referred to as poking the mannequin.
I personally prefer not to die in some creepy fandom shrine, but that's just me.
And as you all turn around and you start, Tehwas, start fiddling with the door there, you notice that Granny P and Mama Martha did not make it right behind you when the door closed, but that camera drone is still floating around, and it seems like you can hear Granny P and Mama Martha from the other side banging on the doors, being like, hey, what's happening there? Don't let any of the good stuff get missed. Somebody grab that camera and make sure you get whatever's happening in there, all right?
Like, yes, Grandma. Like, I'll just do a hand signal that tells the robot to follow us and just, auto camera.
Either way, we're on camera. That thing's been watching us since we got in here.
Meanwhile, you have got a devil creature in a box that is just, screeching and making all sorts of noises in your faces. And you are going to have to deal with that next time.
All right, so thank you all so much for joining us. I guess hope everyone had a wonderful time here this time with Starfinder X.T.R.E.M.
Thank you all for watching Starfinder X.T.R.E.M. Tune in for the thrilling conclusion of this arc during PaizoCon Online next week. Peyton, do you want to sign off with a little bit of information about that?
Yep, so basically we have PaizoCon Online next week. It requires no entry inside of it. Basically everything's going to be streamed here on Twitch. Similar to what you probably have experienced in past PaizoCons. This is going to be my first PaizoCon, actually. That it's kind of sad I don't get to see a lot of people physically, but it's to keep everyone safe, and I'd rather that make sure everyone's safe and sound than potentially get someone hurt or something. So with that, everyone, thank you all so much for joining in. I hope you guys can tune in for PaizoCon and everything else. I think it starts at 4 p.m. PDT.
It's 4 p.m.
Yeah, 4 p.m. PDT on Wednesday.
Yep.
And with that, I hope you guys be there. We'll be giving away a whole bunch of stuff at PaizoCon, by the way. So if you guys want to go there to win fantastic prizes, get to meet all of the developers and designers who have been making your favorite games, learn a whole bunch of new interesting things that might be coming out, and just get to know some interesting lore tidbits that might be developing. PaizoCon Online is definitely the thing to tune in for. So we hope to see you guys next week. Hope to have a wonderful time with you all there. And I think we can ring it around the horn here. And Inara, would you like to reintroduce yourself and tell them where they can possibly find you on any socials if you have any, or who's you is?
Oh yeah. Hi, I'm Ianara. I was Moxie. I'm an editor at Paizo. It's also going to be my first PaizoCon next week because I'm a relatively new hire. You can find me at Immaculate on Twitter.com. Aside from that, don't really do social media, but yeah, that's pretty much me.
And Mr. Compton?
I'm John Compton. I'm senior developer. I'll also be at PaizoCon doing a panel, doing some streaming with us. Also, I have an Ask Me Anything thread on the PaizoCon Discord, which is where you can go and hang out with all sorts of great PaizoCon attendees, even starting today. Yeah, so I'll see you there.
And Mr. Andrew?
I'm Andrew White. I'm the front-end dev lead on Paizo.com. I will be doing this at PaizoCon next week. And I also don't have any social media, but I made Daeve a Twitter page on the chance that I ever thought of anything to put there. Nothing there yet, but if you wanted to find him, he is at Law Puncher on Twitter.
He's giving free, non-binding legal advice, right?
Exactly. Should
That's
not be
awesome.
followed under any circumstances, and don't shoot the sink.
Following Daeve may be hazardous to your health and cause symptoms up to and including permanent death.
And with that, you're all good. And I am Peyton Smith, I'm the social media producer. I've been playing Bear Drills, and I've been the angry rolling one bears the entire time. And thank you, Amanda, for game mastering this. I greatly appreciate it. It's been wonderful so far. And
Yeah,
where
no
can everybody
problem.
find you?
So I am at Amanda Hamon on Twitter. I will be on the Secrets of the Pact Worlds panel at PaizoCon Online next week. And in general, just kind of all over the place, being your mistress of doom when it comes to all things wrestling and Starfinder. Thank you all so much for joining us. Can't wait to see you. Please join us next week.
All right, everyone say goodbye. Goodbye. Hope you guys come back with us next week. Goodbye. So long.
Bye.
See ya.
Please be safe out there.
And have an extreme weekend.